The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for May 7th, 2026. This is season 15, episode number 71, and episode number 585 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And Taylor, I sat down earlier today with Brooks Hill of the Binghamton Black Bears. And guess what was the first question he asked me?
Are you going to go to the games this weekend?
No, he asked me where Taylor was. Is Taylor going to join us?
Seriously?
He did ask that today. So I just thought I would throw that at you. So now you've missed out on a couple interviews at the Veterans Memorial.
I didn't even know this one was happening today.
That's true. That's fair. But I didn't think you were going to be able to make it anyways. Maybe you could have. We did it after. We did it after 5 o'clock. I left the office here at 4:45. Got down to the arena. Went in. Set up. Actually brought him a Pepsi. So hopefully he enjoyed his Pepsi afterwards, because I know he didn't drink much of it during the interview. But yeah, we sat down, we did that. Now, of course, fans, as some of you already know, if you listened to all the way to the end of the broadcast and you looked at the title as you started clicking on and listening to this show, Don Olivieri will also be on the show as well. He's a former champion, and I promised you guys I would have former champions on during the week in between the road finals and the home finals, or I would have done it reversed as well if we were on the road for these 3 games, but we are not. And so Don Olivieri will be on, former Binghamton Hockey Champion, as everybody knows. And of course, Brooks Hill to kind of talk about a little bit of everything in that interview. And then of course you get Taylor and I too, which is like the best part, right, Taylor? Isn't it? Hopefully.
I don't know. I saw a couple comments about, us going way off the rails on the last podcast.
Well, that's probably true, but I think some people really love that when we go off the rails just a little bit.
I'm sure they did.
Now, you also had an encounter with a new fan of the Black Bears. So why don't you tell that story a little bit? You can give names if you want. Don't have to give names, whatever you want to do. But tell the story about the fan that you just told me about, because I really love that. And I want people to hear this because it's important.
So I had a fan reach out and, trying to do the weekly contest thing, which is going to be coming up in this episode as well.
Very soon.
For the player poster giveaway. And they tried the first week, wasn't a winner, left it at that. Second week, still wasn't a winner, but I got some more information. And it turns out that these people, this family, has never gone to a hockey game before until they came in January.
Awesome.
And they found out about the show. They've been listening. They really appreciate all the, the insight that we give and all the things that we talk about. And come to find out, they're also involved in dirt racing. So that was kind of another peak of interest because, as you know, it's probably something that we talk about a little bit more than we probably should have on a hockey podcast. But
fair enough.
So we got talking about that, and it's turns out, as we talked about before, that hockey is such a small world. Turns out racing is a small world as well, because last year, Jeremy actually put his camera on her brother-in-law. And it was kind of one of those funny moments where you never would have thought that you'd be connected in this way to certain people. And it was truly awesome. And they love the show. And I'm really glad that, we've kind of had the outreach that we've had this year. And I'm really excited to kind of see how it grows even more.
Yeah. Taylor, I do want to say there was a couple other things about this as well. She also really appreciated that you were on the show because she liked hearing from a woman talk about hockey and whatnot and so forth. And not to pat myself on the back, that is absolutely one of the reasons why my last 2 co-hosts have been women. I wanted more women to get involved, to listen. I watched my wife and her friends go to hockey games and just thoroughly fall in love with it and not be the typical puck bunny or whatever that is out there, that has been out there and whatnot. but people who could actually talk about hockey. And I love the fact that she did mention that to you. Why don't you mention her name?
It is Megan Kamanga, and I really apologize if I'm saying that wrong. I'm hoping I'm saying it right. But
Megan, thank you for listening to the show, Megan. That's the big thing we want to do here. We want to give you a shout out. I love the fact that sometimes, Taylor, you have these interactions with fans while doing the poster giveaway. It's pretty cool.
It truly is. I really enjoy, a lot of the times, some people just message me the code and that's it. A lot of the other fans, I'm starting to they'll just have more conversations with me, or if I see them out and about or even at the arena, I have so many people that come up to me and just say how happy they are that, since I've joined the show, it's just you and I going back and forth about stuff. It's been really fun. It's been a lot more entertaining on their end to hear two people go back and forth, I guess, which I'm sure has been pretty amusing in some areas, especially this last one that we did. But the outreach and, all the fan interaction has been truly wonderful. And it's been great. I've met so many people. I've made a lot of friendships this year, and a lot of people know me by name. It's something that I'm still having a really hard time getting used to. And even Shankar and Brooks saying, where's Taylor the second they see you still baffles me.
Yeah.
I think it's hysterical. You're probably like, wow, they don't even care about me anymore.
No, I have a feeling that I'm going to be the least popular person on this show pretty soon. But, Taylor, how are you feeling about the series just a couple days after the first two games and a couple days before the games 3 and 4 that we know are definitely going to be played? How are you feeling about the series right now?
I'm probably one of the few people that I don't have the nerves. I'm not freaking out internally. I'm not worried. And I'm not saying that they're going to come in here and it's going to be a wash and it's going to be an easy thing. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think it's going to be a great series, coming into this weekend. I mean it more this is our third time in a row coming to the finals, in Binghamton here. The fan base it's going to be a sellout crowd for probably both nights, Friday at least, and Saturday is definitely looking like it. So I'm excited to kind of see the arena filled up, and just the amount of excitement that comes out of the fans when it's the finals and it's that last game and, the clock's ticking down. It's just so insane to kind of be a part of. And it's, at this point in time, and this is probably why everyone's so mad at Binghamton, is that it's almost becoming comfortable for us.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in the sense of we're going to be comfortable and not play to the extent that we're expected to, because I truly think that they're going to play however they need to play. But I just mean we've been here before. They know what it takes to get that championship. They know what they need to do. We've seen these guys, several different players at certain points throughout this, or places throughout this season, kind of step up and put the team on their back and do what they needed to do. We've seen it with Mac Jansen. We've seen it with Tyson. We've seen it with Nick Swain. Just any given point, we've seen a player do something on the ice that has been, extraordinary to the game itself, and just kind of helping carry the team through that win or that series or whatever it was at that time. So I feel like I'm probably one of the, if the only person who isn't nervous kind of going into this week. I'm excited. I'm very excited. I think Pee Dee is a very interesting team. I like the skill level that they have, and I honestly think it's going to be a great series. And I mean, we used to talk about playing Twin City all the time. And, it's just that great hockey that's back and forth. And I really hope that comes out of Pee Dee. The only worry that I slightly have is in Saturday's game in Pee Dee was you kind of started seeing the players getting that frustrated. And that frustration sometimes can lead to, weird penalties or silly penalties that they shouldn't be doing, or just, silly things that shouldn't be happening in a playoff type of game. But that's kind of my only worry, and that's more on Pee Dee's end. And, just because we started to see that a little bit come out on Saturday's game.
Yeah.
So I kind of hope they have more focus on that coming in. But I don't really blame them. I mean, it's the first time getting here. It's their first season. They're very excited about that. I completely understand the emotion going into that. And that's where I feel like we kind of have that slight advantage to that because we've been here before.
Yeah.
And, now this is their third year.
I think For me, I'm coming into this and I don't really have a feeling going in, right? Like it's Wednesday as you and I are recording this right now. I'm not antsy. I'm not nervous. I'm not like overly, I feel very tired. It's been a very long season. We haven't had any weekends off realistically. You took a weekend off because you guys went on vacation and I allowed you to have one weekend off, but not two. Which is so funny because I have no control over this, folks. I really don't. Usually what happens is on the day of our recording, she'll be like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you know, and I'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, oh God, she's still in it. Thank God. And so honestly, I'm tired and I'm ready for the season to be over with. And I know no matter what, we either have 2 more games left or 3 more games left. Now, I have the complete confidence that the Black Bears are going to win a 3rd championship. I've said this multiple times, Taylor, and you've heard me say this here on the show. If Brant Sherwood is involved with a team that's in the finals at this point, I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to be able to coach them, advise them, prepare them to win a championship. And then you add in Coach Q, who I believe brings in all these little details that he knows how to do leading up to the NHL level of play. I think these guys have the ability to win. Now, do I possibly think that we could be looking at a game 5 on Sunday? Absolutely. Because you never know what PD is going to do. You never know what Gary Graham and Nick Graham are going to do to adjust to their players. And the only thing that I think that they have on us right now, they have younger and faster players. That's it. Now, I think we have the skill level, the defensive ability to slow that down and to stop that. We've seen that against Port Huron. We've seen that against PD. So I have complete confidence that we're going to win. However, I do know that with their skill level, which, again, I think in our 3rd year now, Taylor, if you think about this and you think about the last 2 championships against the Thunderbirds, the Pee Dee IceCats at this point in time in the finals may be playing better than what the Thunderbirds played in the last 2 finals.
Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with that. I would 100% back that, and there's probably ways to even prove it. They
won a game. They won a game. That's how you prove it.
That's true. Yeah, that right there.
They beat the Black Bears. This is the most losses the Black Bears have had in a Brant Sherwood. Well, actually, technically, I guess in the first year he was in the playoffs, they lost 2 games to the Danbury Hat Tricks, right, and got knocked out. And then the next 3 years, he's only had 1 loss and then no losses. And then this year, 2 losses again. And one of those losses was against Port Huron. And then this last one was against, obviously, PD, but it was in the finals, something that he hasn't lost in the finals before. So I truly do believe that loss proves that PD is probably playing better hockey than the Thunderbirds did the last 2 years.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The thing about the Black Bears, though, is, Brant probably even before that game was over was already, he knew what he needed to look at and things that he needed to talk about with the team to kind of get them more prepared to play on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And they were able to go out and get a win. And I think one of the things, and this is kind of talked about in the press release that was done earlier today, that, because I think it was maybe even you brought it up about, those last 2 minutes, kind of shutting them down and not allowing them to let Colgan get off the ice. And, was that you or Brooks?
No, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that was Brooks that brought that one up.
Yeah. Now that I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe it was Brooks that asked this question, but, they're kind of talking about those last 2 minutes, you could feel the intensity. And I was sitting at home and you could feel the intensity of those 2 minutes and like how long it actually took. Yeah. And the amount of pressure and the ability of the Black Bears to kind of keep control of the puck and maintain it well enough that they couldn't pull Colgan until there was 15 seconds left. And that said something. That tells you that they paid attention to their last couple games against Columbus and realized, well, they pulled their netminder and had that extra attacker, and they tied the game up, took it into overtime, and then won. to be able to be here in the finals. So we have to do whatever we can to stop that. But I also like how they're like, even if they have the ability to put that sixth player on the ice, we are prepared to battle for that. So I kind of like how they have the mindset to be able to do both of those things. And, that's something that Brant has been really good about, all year long, is being able to kind of to shift things on a dime almost and, change things up. I mean, we saw the forwards were all shambled up and we're kind of like looking at it going, oh no. Because, you're worried about some of these guys playing together because, that's not the normal lineup that we're used to for the playoffs, but it worked. So it's kind of one of those awesome abilities that Brant's kind of instilled on this team is being able to work under the pressure like that and knowing what you need to do and the things that you need to change and the things you need to look on. And that could be one of the downfalls for PD is how well the Black Bears are able to shift and do that kind of stuff. And the other only noticeable thing that I could say is, PD does have that speed and they might even be faster than the Black Bears, but can they hold it for 60 minutes? Because I know one of the things that I constantly saw was they were waiting for the Black Bears to let off the gas. They were waiting for them to be gassed and they were waiting for them to slow down and it wasn't happening. Yeah. And they were very shocked by that. So, it's kind of a testament to both teams to basically see who can skate faster and who can skate for the full 60 minutes.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned to me off air about something that Tyson said that really that impressed you, that you really liked a lot. Why don't you talk about that?
So during the press conference, Tyson makes a comment about Binghamton being the standard for the FPHL. Right. And that alone kind of stuck to me. But then he kind of goes on to say, and the reason why this other part stuck to me is a lot of the other, fan bases, teams, coaches, everybody else who's so against Binghamton just constantly brings up the schedule and, well, your schedule is so much easier. You faced easier teams. You did this, you did that. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I know we faced Watertown a bunch of times and they didn't have exactly the best year. But at the same time, the way that Tyson talks about it, he basically goes on to say that for teams in this league who faced Binghamton, they were giving their best because their goal was to beat Binghamton. Yeah. And the perfect example of that is when Danbury finally beat us at home and they acted like they just won the cup. And they were so excited. They left that ice happier than possible. And I think they took forever to leave the ice that night, if I remember correctly. Like they were just hugging each other. They were jumping up and down. They were so ecstatic. And it seriously, it looked like Binghamton had just won the cup the first year. Like that's how excited these guys were to beat Binghamton in just a regular game. So Tyson goes on to say that, every team that faces Binghamton through the regular season, their goal is to beat Binghamton and their goal is to play their absolute best. So did we have an easier schedule? Maybe. But at the same time, every team who faced us was giving us their absolute best every single time we saw them. And I think that really goes to say something because I even said Port Huron facing Indiana, the first game of the season was probably a throwaway game to them. It didn't really matter, didn't mean anything to them. They could probably care less about who won that game. But if you threw anybody against Binghamton, their one goal is we have to beat Binghamton.
Yeah. It really is something that we saw throughout the season. We saw teams like Indiana who couldn't beat us, try to beat us so much. And they played very hard fought games. I don't think we got the B team or the C team from any team that played against us this year. They did whatever they could to try to beat the Black Bears. And I think even for the Thunderbirds, who finally got back into the double win column against the Black Bears, they had, 3 wins a couple years ago against the Black Bears. But then, Brant Sherwood and the team kind of shut that down. But even the Thunderbirds beat us twice this year. And I think that was like a kind of a little bit of a victory for them, right? Not that they celebrated like Danbury did. And I understood why Danbury celebrated the way they did. I might have said something stupid after the game, here on the Power Play post show. But in retrospect, when I look back at it, I go, yeah, I kind of get it. I kind of understand where they're coming from. Because if that was the Black Bears losing that many times to Danbury, which did happen in the first couple years, we did lose a lot of times to Danbury. I could almost understand that. And then you go and you get that win in our home ice against the 2-time champions. yeah, you kind of almost understand it, but it really does lend to the fact every single team came in here and tried to play Binghamton with their A+ game, period.
Yeah, and I mean, even for teams that were brand new to this year, knew that coming into a game with Binghamton, that they were the 2-time defending champion, and their one goal, again, is to beat them. And that was pretty much the staple for every team throughout the league, whether they faced us or not, was, well, if we get to that point, we have to do whatever it takes to beat them. And very few teams were able to do that. And very few teams have been able to do that consistently the last couple of years. So, yeah, I definitely, when Tyson said that, it definitely stuck with me. And I kind of wish other people listened to it, especially, and this is another point that gets brought up because of you, some of the Pee Dee fans, and maybe that guy who did the video the other day that you had sent me could take a listen to his double minor and listen to him talk about him, getting hit in the face with a stick and actually bleeding from it. And maybe they'll understand a little bit more.
Well, I think it's so hard because, when I explained this on the Sunday show about how you can't just look at one element of the rule and go, oh, that's the part that's going to help me the most. That's the part that I want everybody to know about. Yes, a follow through on a shot, a pass, a clearing attempt, all those things matter, right? But at the same time, in the rule book, it also says a wild swing or going above the shoulders and making contact with someone's head and cutting them open and making them bleed is still considered a penalty. And that's what you have to understand. And Tyson wanted to make it perfectly clear. And I asked the question, and I was okay asking the question. Sometimes I ask the hard questions. Sometimes I don't give just a softball to somebody. And Tyson handled it like a champ. I loved it. I loved actually what he said. He looked directly at me, and I think he was not talking to me because I think he knows what I think of what happened. And it wasn't me that, was making any of those comments. He was talking to me to talk to everybody else. And I think that was very, very important. And I hope in the end, he appreciated that question because there was so much talk about, oh, he was flopping, he was faking it, he wasn't really injured, blah, 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 all that stuff. Okay, guys, go take a stick to your face. Tell me how it feels. All right? Because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, I definitely like the way that he presented himself and kind of the professionalism that was carried. Because, you have Tyson and you have Brant who, they're very kind of almost serious about the way that they talk about things. And then you get Dan Stone, and towards the end there was kind of fun and kind of humorous type of stuff. And he's definitely more smiley, which I thought was just funny. But I definitely like the way that Tyson handles himself, which again is another thing that cracks me up. And I don't talk about it all the time because people hate on Tyson so much, and it still baffles me. I can't understand why, because he goes and talks to the refs like any captain should for his team. But again, I don't understand it.
Wait, why would a captain need to go talk to the referees? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it.
I mean, I guess if nobody else, if any other team doesn't like to relay what the refs are saying to their benches, then I guess that's fine. And maybe that's why we had, so many delays that we did when we faced Port Huron, because the ref was constantly going over and talking to Paulin instead of just having somebody on his team relay the messages back and forth like a normal captain would. And then so I guess I'm kind of calling out Matt Graham here for a moment because, go talk to the ref, then take it back to Paulin like Tyson does for Brant. It's no different than, the ref actually coming all the way over and talking to the coach. You're going to be mad at Paulin every time you talk to the ref.
I feel bad for Austin Federley because he's actually the captain on the team for Port Huron. And you're basically saying, no, go talk to Graham, and then Graham can talk to Paulin and relay the message. Listen, here's the other thing about this. Tyson is not just relaying messages from the referees to the bench. That is part of the situation. He's also looking for explanations. That's what captains do. They go to the referees and say, hey, what did you see on that play so we can make sure that we don't do that again? What did you see here? This is what I saw. Tell me what you saw. They have those kind of conversations with each other And all captains at every single level will go do that with the referees. And if you do it in a non-destructive way, in other words, you don't drop the F-bomb, you don't call them an idiot, you don't call them the R word or something like that, everything is good. And referees understand that. The fans see this from opposing teams and they just think it's evil and that they're crybabies, and it has nothing to do with that. It's about understanding the mind of the referee so you can play the game in a certain way that allows you to take advantage of what you are learning about the referee, but also at the same time making sure that you don't do and go overboard. Every team does it. Even a team like Port Huron should be talking to the referees and probably do talk to the referees at times. It's just part of the game. It's a part of the gameology that is within hockey. It's part of the psychology of the game that most people just don't understand, so they just call him a crybaby. No, you just don't get it. That's part of the game. That's part of, playing the game. So I don't want to get too riled up.
That's why, I really wish that, other people of, the other fan bases and stuff would, watch that video and just kind of to listen to the way that Tyson explains things and talks about things and the way that he carries himself.
Right.
Because it's a lot different than some other player videos that we have seen and have been done. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the way that other videos have been done and stuff, but Tyson carries himself differently.
Yeah.
And it's a very professional way about it, that the way that he speaks about things, and it doesn't point fingers and blame things and
Taylor, I know,
accuse other people of this and that.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're basically saying, listen, when I get a camera or a microphone in front of Tyson, Brant, or anybody on the Black Bears, it's a completely different conversation than when you hear Chris Paulin or some of the people on the Prowlers talking to Will Wiggleman or I can't remember what the long-haired guy from Port Huron is. And I apologize. I don't mean to disrespect you because you're just doing your job.
Yeah, I don't know what his name is.
I can't remember his name. I want to say Andy, but it might not be Andy. Either way, those two guys, Will and Andy, or Will and the long-haired guy from Port Huron, they do a phenomenal job. They do a really Brady, I think his name is Brady. They do a really good job.
I think it is too.
All right. It's what the Port Huron people are saying sometimes to them that makes me scratch my head, because then when you go and you talk to Brant Sherwood, or you talk to Tyson Kirkby, or you talk to CJ Stubbs, you get a completely different philosophy of how to talk to the media or talk to your fans realistically. I think the way Brant Sherwood and his players talk to the media shows their fans this is how you interact. This is how you dissect games, and this is how you react to things, good and or bad.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I truly wish I could just make everybody else watch the video.
Yeah, well, it's gotten a lot of views so far for the press conference.
They would probably still find something to nitpick about it and be upset about it or something. So it's probably a lose-lose situation.
Probably. That's fair. Taylor, I have one more thing I wanted to talk about, and I forgot what it is. So we are going to go into, that's right, it's time for the 11x14 poster giveaway. Please tell the fans the special code phrase for this week.
2 more wins.
That's it. We just need 2 more wins. So the fans, if you are the 4th person, we're going to make this happen quick, fans. If you're the 4th person to message Taylor, and that probably will happen around 3:00 in the morning. I do apologize. No, I'm just kidding. If you are the 4th person to message Taylor on Facebook Messenger with the special code phrase 2 more wins, you will win the final 11x14 player poster giveaway of your choice for this year. That's right. The winner gets to choose from any current Black Bears player, and we'll deliver the poster at an upcoming home game. Send in that special code phrase. And thank you, obviously, for always listening to the Power Play Post Show, engaging with us and talking with us and being a part of the show. You guys have been amazing this year. And yes, we've got a couple more games left. We've got a few more games left. We're hoping, knock on wood, that we take home another championship, which would be great, against a very hard foe of the Pee Dee IceCats. But once again, 2 more wins is the special code phrase. And if you're the 4th person to message Taylor, and probably by the time we're done recording this show, someone already had messaged you, and somehow they've gotten the number, and I don't know how, or the special code phrase. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. These people are sneaky. They might be looking through my window and seeing it on the thing. I don't know. But hopefully not. All right. Let's get into this. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. And coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show, we have former champion and the Don father of Binghamton. Everybody loves him. Don Olivieri will be on, and he'll talk about the Fire Academy and what he thinks about Binghamton versus the Pee Dee IceCats. And we have broadcaster extraordinaire, Mr. Brooks Hill, on the show as well.
I truly can't wait to listen to the Don interview. It always cracks me up to kind of listen to him talk about certain, because he gives you like serious things, and then you guys kind of like, you get some like funny stuff in there too. And it's just, I always love his interviews.
I think we talked about, I do think we talked about Twizzlers. So
that's pretty fun. Did you tell him that he's got to come take him out of the penalty box because nobody else is touching?
Well, I have a feeling they're too stale for anybody to eat them now, right? I mean, I guess they'd probably replace them out.
If they haven't been opened.
That's true. You go into a CVS nowadays and you want to get a pack of candy or something. That candy's been sitting there for about 4 months, people. I'll tell you that right now. I used to work at a CVS. I know how long sometimes that candy can sit on the thing. Check the dates, folks. I'm telling you right now, from personal experience, check the dates.
Listen, I do beer, and I've seen some pretty interesting things. So
I'm sure you have. All right,
we've had stuff come from the truck that was out of date, so that tells you like it gets weird sometimes.
We are getting off tangent again.
Power Play Post Show fans, do us a quick favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the show. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following the podcast and leave us a rating. It's completely free to do. It takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube and Spotify to push the show out to more Binghamton Black Bear fans and more hockey fans just like you. Drop a comment, too. We read them, and we love hearing from you.
Absolutely. Okay. So what we're going to talk about for the next few minutes is basically about the awards that the Black Bears gotten this year, right? Now, the really cool thing is the Black Bears have actually won some of the league awards, and they have here and there over the last 4 years as well. But I wanted to get everybody caught up on it. Plus, how much more can we preview the Pee Dee IceCats? We've already talked about the 2 games. We've already talked about how they finished the regular season, what they did against Columbus, what they did against Athens. And we already talked about on the last show what they did against Binghamton on Friday night. We've already talked about the IceCats a lot. We'll talk a little bit more about them after the interviews. But the award season has been good to Binghamton this year. First, there was the first ever Black Bears awards the team awards that they gave out. I'm going to read through those one more time. The Booster Club Award went to Ivan Bondarenko, very well deserving. Don Olivieri Fan Favorite Award went to Zach Sirota, and probably because everybody knows that Zach and his dad are, going to come after us if we didn't vote for them.
Part of the mafia.
He's part of the mafia and everything, right? I mean, tell you what, Zach has got the best after game attire, right? Coming out with that black knit hat, the black jacket. I mean, it looks like he's ready to go do some business. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's why it came off that way. And then the first time I met Les, and I was like, you look at his hand, and you're like, he's seen some stuff. But then, come to find out he was just a goalie, and you're like, it makes perfect sense now.
It does. And we love the Sirotas, so please don't anyone take any of this badly. I think if Zach and Les hear this, they'll laugh a little bit. The Rod Bloomfield Rookie of the Year Award, I helped name that, went to Dominic Tomei, very well deserving there. The Peter Laviolette Defenseman of the Year went to Austin DeRazio. Of course, that was a great thing. The Gavin Yates Forward of the Year Award went to CJ Stubbs. The Tyson Kirkby MVP Award went also to CJ Stubbs. And the Finn Hunter Unsung Hero Award went to Scott Romakers. 100%. The guy will, as Taylor has said, multiple times. He'll play anywhere. He's happy to do it, and he'll work his butt off. And he is literally like one of the most important players on this team this year. And then the Black Bears Lifetime Achievement Award went to Brant Sherwood. But, Taylor, the league started handing out awards about 2 weeks ago. And this is the one that I've been waiting for 2 years.
I'm pretty sure everybody has. So speaking of Brant Sherwood, it finally happened. He was named the FPHL Coach of the Year, as we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for that to happen. It finally did. The Binghamton Black Bears are proud to announce that the Federal Prospects Hockey League has named Brant Sherwood Coach of the Year. This award marks the first time in the franchise's 5 years that the sitting head coach has won the award. Coach Sherwood and associate head coach John Quinville finished the regular season with a 48-6-2 record and 143 points. Marks the second straight season that the Black Bears have finished with 143 points and won the number 1 overall seed in the playoffs. After winning back-to-back Commissioner Cup finals, the Black Bears were tasked with retooling the roster in all positions. Coach Sherwood was able to bring in experienced forwards in Ivan Bondarenko, Mac Jansen, and Garrett Sargis, which proved to be enormous after Captain Tyson Kirkby missed more than 20 games early in the season. He was able to identify new talent to join the team, either in training camp or early season, and players like Austin D'Orazio, Jacob Shinkar, Chicho Laughlin, and Dominic Tomei. The Black Bears once again finished with the league's top penalty kill percentage with an 88.4% success rate. Binghamton had 11 shorthanded goals, tied for the most in the division. They led the league in goal differential at plus 166, while no other team surpassed triple digits.
Nuts.
In all 3 seasons since the interim title has been removed, Coach Sherwood has surpassed 39 wins in the 56-game season. He now has 175 wins since he took over after Christmas of 2022, including 97 in the past 2 years.
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Yes, absolutely. This was the one I've been waiting for a couple of years. I thought he should have gotten it last year, 100%. And you could have even argued the first year of him getting it at least that year because, you know, it was only 39 wins, but then they still went undefeated in the playoffs to win the championship in that first year. So I really, truly think that he really kind of deserved it. You can make make a case.
Yeah, I think an argument could be made for the first year, and then that second year, everyone was kind of like, "Really?" So I think there would have been some riots if it didn't happen this year for him. So I think everybody's been waiting for it, and I'm pretty sure we couldn't be happier for that. So,
and then just a few days after that, Dominic Tomei was named FPHL's Goaltender of the Year, and if that sounds familiar, you'll find out why here in just a few seconds. The FPHL has named Binghamton's Dominic Tomei as the 2025-26 Goaltender of the Year. He is the second award winner for the organization this season, joining head coach Brant Sherwood as Coach of the Year. Dominic Tomei finished the regular season leading in every statistical category for a goaltender. He posted a 28-2-1 record, a 1.83 goals against average, a 932 save percentage, and 7 shutouts, tying the FPHL single season record, which I think was held with Brendan Colgan, if I remember correctly. In his rookie season, he was able to win 14 straight starts and later would go to different 6-game win streaks. Wow, that's hard to say. Tomei joined the Black Bears after the conclusion of the training camp back in October, making his debut against the Watertown Wolves. On Valentine's Day, he stopped a career-high 38 shots on goal. Perhaps his most interesting stat from the year was posting 3 straight shutouts across 3 different weekends and against 3 different opponents. Tomei finished the season making 778 saves and was the goaltender of record in 31 games this season. Now, I do want to bring up one small little thing here in just a second. This marks the second straight season a Black Bears goalie has won the goaltender of the year, and we'll do this as well.
Give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair.
One of the things I want to mention, I think last year, and this is really one of the advancements in the Black Bears defense, I'm pretty sure that last year, Connor McAnanima, who did win 30 games. He was 32-1 or 33-1, somewhere right around there, right? So he started maybe 3, maybe 4 more games than Dominic. He had to make almost 1,000 saves. I think it was like 1,032 or something like that. So the Black Bears, yes, he played a few less games, which, okay, say 30 on average, and you play 3 less, that's only 90 less saves. That means the Black Bears defense also chipped in a little bit here to make sure that he didn't have to make as many saves as Connor did last year. That is a credit to the defense, the team in front of him. But still, he had a phenomenal season. When you have 10 one-goal games and you have 7 shutouts, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's been talked about all season long is how great, Dominic has played. I know at first when Connor first left, it was kind of everyone was a little bit nervous. Everyone was a little bit jittery about it. And, Dominic really stepped up to the plate. And, from what I heard, Connor was comfortable leaving because Dominic was here.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of goes to tell you that he kind of saw something in Dominic that I don't think the fans had quite seen yet. And then he goes and has the season that he does. And we're heading into the finals the way that we are. And it's one of those things where the second season, everyone was like, it's going to be hard to do 2 in a row. And we went and did that. Mm-hmm. And, a huge props to Connor for that. Because, again, he was absolute beast in the playoffs. Cannot ever take that away from him.
No.
To be able to do what he did in the playoffs was phenomenal. And, to come into this season and have the changes and again, not huge changes. I know that was one of the topics brought up is we didn't have a lot of changes. We had, I would say, subtle changes to the roster, some tweaking here and there, some movements going on. But to be able to kind of pull this off in his debut year is just absolutely insane, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with you at all. It's what's amazing about this as well, and is that, the confidence that not only does the team have in him, but Connor McAnanama have in him, saying, Coach, he's your guy. He's your number one. I'm going to go do my own thing. And then when he comes back, he's not saying, Coach, put me in, put me in, put me in, put me in. He knows that this is still Dom's team. That says a lot about Connor's character, and it says a lot about what people think of Dominic Tomei and his character and his ability to win games and maybe even win a championship, and that's huge.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, kind of going on that role about speaking highly of people.
Yes.
This person was considered the playmaker. And the very deserving Ivan Bondarenko was named FPHL Forward of the Year. And what's funny about this is the first post that I saw about it was actually from his wife, congratulating him and just being so excited for him. And then I saw it about 400 more times after that. Everybody was sharing it. Everybody was talking about it, tagging him in it. They were just so pumped for him. And I thought it was awesome to see that.
Can I just say before you read this, one of the coolest things that you and I had to get to experience this year was getting to know Yvonne and Katie a little bit. Now, I don't think we talked to Katie as much as we have Vanna, but we got to know them a little bit. And they didn't just come here. It's not just like, boyfriend, girlfriend, and she's one of the girlfriends. No, she's the mom of his children. They are married. This is like an established, like relationship, right? Probably the most established relationship, because they have kids, of any of the players that have been here over the last 5 years. And we got to know them a little bit. And I have to say that, Katie is such a very sweet, kind person. And, Vanna is just so amazing, so appreciative, so very nice to us. And their kids are crazy. I will say that.
That's kids for you.
Yes, especially at their age, and then being boys, they're just crazy and do whatever they want down in the corner, and it's cute, and everybody knows who they are. But I just wanted to say that one of the coolest things for us was really to get to know Vanna and Katie a little bit.
Oh, 100%. I've, getting to know a lot of the players and a lot of the families, the girlfriends, and, Katie and some of the wives and stuff. It's been like, this season has just been awesome all the way around. And, I give her I'm sure she doesn't do it alone. Like, I know, like, some of the other girlfriends, like, help step in and, they'll, like, chase after the kids and stuff. But bringing 2 young kids to a hockey game, especially when their dad's out there on the ice, I'm sure that can't be an easy thing.
No.
Because we've seen, Dana, who's Gavin's girlfriend, we've seen her, some heated moments with her because things that have happened on the ice with Gavin. And so I'm sure it gets kind of stressful at times. So I give her huge props for, having 2 young kids that you bring them to the hockey game and they get down in that corner and they're running for all that. Like, they have more energy than probably anybody else down there in that corner.
Especially at that time of night.
Again, that's kids for you. But yeah, getting to know them, it's been so fun. And I'm like, I remember when we started the posters, I knew immediately that he was the person that I wanted to kind of start with. Mostly because at the time he was like one of my favorite people to watch on the ice. I truly enjoyed what he brought to this team.
Yeah.
And to kind of introduce the posters with him and his family in that moment, it was so nice. It was so heartwarming and just made me feel really good about the response that they were giving.
Yeah. That
it made me feel like the fans were going to eat this up. And I was so happy for that. And then when I did the poster for him and Dom, for the Impact players, I still haven't given Dom's his because I haven't seen him. So I still have to do that. But I showed her because I hadn't seen, Bondarenko yet. And she was just so happy and like, just there again, just so nice and just lovely people to be around.
Mm-hmm. And
it truly has been awesome. But the Federal Prospects Hockey League has selected Binghamton's Ivan Bondarenko as the 25-26 Forward of the Year. He is the 3rd award winner for the organization this season, joining head coach Brant Sherwood and goaltender Dominic Tomei. Bondarenko joined the Black Bears this season for year 7 of his professional career. He was one of 2 players who appeared in every regular season game this year. During the month of April, Ivan broke the franchise record in assists in a single season with 68. He would go on and finish the regular season with 77. Paired with his 77 assists, Bondarenko added 21 goals throughout the campaign. During the stretch from November to January, Bondarenko had at least 1 assist in 25 straight games.
Love that.
His most prolific night was on February 20th versus Watertown, where he posted 5 assists in 1 game. He finished the regular season with 98 points, tying the franchise record in points in a single season. There was only 4 games all season where Bondarenko did not record a point. Bondarenko is the 2nd Black Bear in franchise history to receive the honor. The other one was Nikita Ivashkin in the 22 season.
Yep.
Give me 2 caps and a Ric Flair.
Now, what's funny is that he posted 5 assists in 1 game against Watertown. You would think, he probably assisted on every single goal, or maybe they scored 6 goals. No, they scored 10 goals in that game, and he still assisted on 5 of those. But you would think it would be more impressive, but no. So I think there's some room for improvement there, right? If you score 10 goals and you only assist on 5, that's only 50%. I mean, I think you can get that up there, maybe 75%, maybe 80%. Get up there to assist on 8 goals. Okay, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. For me, it was the 25 straight games because him and Stubbs were same. And we were kind of watching the both of them go back and forth, and we were really watching them go. And then I think Stubbs got suspended, and then or maybe it was before he got suspended where he ended up not getting a point in a game.
We got shut out.
Bondarenko kept going for I think 1 more game after that. But that for me was kind of my favorite moment, was watching how many games in a row he had a point. Because again, just insane what he has done this year.
I'm pretty sure Pee Dee broke the streak for both of them and with the shutout. I think that's what it was.
Maybe.
I think that's what it was. I think that's when the streak got broken, is when we played against Pee Dee. All right, coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, it's your favorite comedian. He is Don Olivieri. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers.
Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. This is a very exciting moment because generally during this time period, I can't really talk to the players outside of the the press conference that will be held on Wednesday. So I decided to bring in champions from previous hockey teams. Now, the first 2 years, we brought in two guys from the Binghamton Senators, Cody Bass and Barry Brust. But today, I decided, why not bring back a former champion from the Binghamton Black Bears, somebody that everybody loves, and that would be Don Olivieri. Don, welcome back to the show. Or should I say firefighter Olivieri? Now, am I allowed to say that now, or are you still technically, are you a probie still?
Yeah, I'm still a cadet right now, so I can't go by that title quite yet.
Okay, all right. Well, Don, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure being on the show with you.
So Don, let's talk about the fire department. So the academy is going on. How much longer do you have in the academy?
So August 20th is our graduation date. So maybe about 3.5 months left.
Nice. And how's it going? What's the worst part of the academy so far? And I know the answer, so it better be what you and I just talked about recently.
Well, we just got the fire side, so we just completed the EMS. I just passed the National Registry test. Mm-hmm. So that was probably the hardest part of the whole academy, is getting through the EMS part. But we just got the fire side, like I said. So, it's a lot of new things, tying knots, learning the engines, learning the hoses, throwing ladders, learning the ladder truck, extinguishers, everything, every single tool. So it's a ton of stuff thrown at you at once.
Well, I thought you were going to say the running, because you're doing a lot of running, and you said that you don't want to do that much running again after the academy's done.
Yeah, that 10-mile run we did, that's the Broad Street run. I mean, Philly has it every single year, and our class happened to do it, and we kind of set the standard for it. And it wasn't a mandatory thing, but as the cadets, we all want to be a part of it, and we all went together. So I mean, we definitely trained for it throughout the academy. Mm-hmm. But that was by far the farthest run we did, and we all completed it. We all made it through. We all made it in together as one band, one sound. So it was a good experience, but I'll definitely never do that ever again personally.
How did you do? I mean, did you finish better than some of your academy partners, or was it more of the you guys all crossed around the same time?
We were all in a group. We had a couple people do cadences, so we did cadences the whole run. So we were together the whole run. We started together, finished together, and did our cadences the whole 10 miles.
Okay. Very, very cool. So how many of the tall ladders have you had to climb so far? Because I know this is something you and I have talked about before.
We haven't had to climb anything yet. I mean, besides the ladder truck, mm-hmm. I think we climbed about 75 feet up. That was the very first day.
Right.
But other than that, we haven't climbed anything yet. We've been just, so we have like proficiency tests. So we gotta know how to throw the ladders. We gotta know how to do our knots, how to do, know all our tools, know our extinguishers. So we have to get through all of that. And then once we get through all of that, then we start moving on to that stuff. But I think Thursday, mm-hmm. this week, we are going to experience our first burn. So we'll be going into the burn tower. I'm in the A platoon. So our A platoon will be going in together. There's about 21 of us. Mm-hmm. We'll have our SCBA equipment on. We'll have our full bunker gear on, and they're gonna light the room on fire, and all 21 of us are gonna experience our first burn.
So now this is a very controlled burn. This is in a place where they do test burns and to help train fire cadets and even probably other firefighters who honestly, they should always be training and whatnot. So this is very much a controlled burn that you'll be a part of and be able to go into and see how certain things happen, correct? Yeah,
so it's very controlled, but obviously there's always a risk. and we all know that going in, but there's going to be, I think, about 6 of our lieutenants in there with us. So if anything goes wrong, they'll give us a sign to get out. But other than that, yeah, it's a controlled burn. It's on our training facility. And like you said, other firefighters do come up and train while we're at the academy. Even guys that just got the last class, they have to do their year test. So they come up, they do their year test. They do their test in their truck. They do their test in the hoses. They do their test in the burn building. And then after that 1 year test is over, they really just come up to train when they're told to.
Let me ask you this: have you driven one of the trucks yet?
No, I probably won't drive a truck for another probably 20 months.
Really?
Yeah. So when you graduate, I think it's like about a year before you could drive your first truck, because you have to go, like I said, back up to the academy, and then you have to train for that, and you have to take a bunch of tests and stuff and get certified to do that.
Now, they have trucks down there that kind of pivot, right? Where it's almost like a tractor trailer, right? That's how big some of the trucks are, correct?
Yeah. So the engine trucks they're kind of standard. They're not too bad, but the ladder trucks, I mean, some of the ladder trucks, you have the the driver, and then you have the guy in the back. That's a till. So he controls the back of the truck. So, I mean, down the line, that's something, if I get assigned to a ladder company, I mean, that's something I'm going to have to learn, like I said, down the line. But you have to be on the job, I think, for at least a year. And then that's when you start taking your driving tests and stuff, because they want you to know, like if I get assigned in South Philly, I have to know my local. I have to know every single street like the back of my hand. I have to know where everything is. And then once I know all that, then that's kind of when we start doing the driving tests and stuff. So it takes about another year after the academy.
And you haven't been assigned to a firehouse yet, right?
Nah, just strictly the academy until August 20th. And then August 20th, right, the day after graduation,
yeah,
they hand out your assignment, and I could be going to an engine or a ladder the very next day and starting. I guess, I mean, I already started my career, but
yeah,
starting my career at an actual station.
Right. And then I can actually call you firefighter Olivieri then. Right now it's off limits, and I've broken like 15 rules, right?
August 20th. August 20th is the day I can call myself a firefighter.
That's fair. That's fair. And they call you cadets, not probie, right? This isn't like NCIS where they call them probies when they're in the, just starting their career. So I got to remember that too. I'm just screwing up this interview left and right here, Don.
No, I think so. I'm a cadet in the academy, but I think when I get out, when I'm assigned to an engine,
yeah,
I don't know if they still use probie or if they're just going to call me a rookie.
Yeah, okay.
It's either or, So I don't really know how they're going to go about it. I guess it depends on what station you go to, or how old the guys are. The older guys might have been around when probie was around. Maybe the newer, younger generations saying rookie. So I don't know.
God, crap. So when was the last time you were a rookie in anything?
Man. I don't know, like 10 years ago was my first year pro, something like that.
Yeah. You probably remember when Brant was a rookie.
I'm almost certain Brant I'm almost certain he was my rookie.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, so I don't know if you heard, but the league awarded Brant as coach of the year. It only took them 3 years to do this. If there's something that you could say to Brant, and I don't know if he's going to listen to this week or maybe next week after the finals are over with, but if you could say something to him about winning coach of the year, what would you say? I
mean, it's a big accomplishment for him. I'm proud of him. I've seen what he's been through with hockey and life and stuff. So, I'm proud of him where he's at. And I mean, he's deserved it. I mean, it's pretty hard to win back-to-back championships, but to make it to the finals for a third time in a row, that's pretty incredible.
And it starts with him.
He obviously knows what he's doing. He obviously knows how to recruit. He knows how to persuade guys to come and play for him. and he knows how to get, the right core of guys that can gel and just do everything right. And, I appreciated him a lot when he coached me, and I know me and him went way back with hockey, but, he's taught me some things as him being a coach. And like I said, I appreciate him, and he deserves everything that he has accomplished so far.
He got other former teammates of his to come in this year. And you saw CJ come in last year. You came in, you've played with him. This year was Ivan Bondarenko and Mac Jansen, guys who he's played with before. Why is it so easy for former teammates of Brant to come in as he being the head coach when I guess a little bit, obviously, when he was with Columbus, he was kind of like an assistant coach. But why is it so easy for his former teammates to come in and be a player under Brant Sherwood?
It starts with a winning culture, right? Nobody wants to go to a team and be miserable and just lose, and that makes you not want to show up to the rink. That makes you, kind of want to be a cancer and stuff like that. So the winning culture definitely helps them. I know I didn't attend many practices, but every time I went to the rink, I was happy as shit. It seemed like every single guy was happy. And that's what it's about when you're playing, in lower pro leagues like that. Like, you want to be happy. Not everybody's playing for the money, obviously. They're playing because they want to play and they want to be there and they want to be happy. And he brings that winning culture and he brings that attitude to Binghamton.
Yeah, but I think it's very interesting, and I'm not trying to roast him here, and I don't want necessarily for you to roast him, but I find it very interesting because he talks about his own career and how he played, and he was a little wild and crazy on the ice and things of that nature, and there must have been a personal connection between, and I know there has been with you and him. We've talked about that before and everything, but there has to be with all these other players because they're so willing to come in and play with underneath him when they know how he was on the ice. They know the way he played the game in his career. And these are his own words, not mine. And yet they're still so willing to come in and play for him.
Yeah. Brant was a prick on the ice.
Yep.
And that's his style. And that's just how he was. And, when that's how he kept his job on every team he played with. Right. So, that's just how it was when we all played. There's guys that I hate it, and I wanted to rip their heads off every night, and then they would get traded to my team, and it was like me and them were best friends. You know, so it just I think guys just know how to put the hockey side away, and They know that it's hockey. Like, you're willing to do whatever it takes for your team to win. Like, everybody knows that. That's just how it is. And, I think nobody's ever taken anything personal with him and the way he played.
Right.
That's just the way he played, and that's the way he had to stay on teams. And, outside hockey, when you talk to people and get to know people, and it's just a total different story. And, that's how he is. He's a total different guy off the ice.
Don, I want to get your thoughts on this. Obviously, the Black Bears went into the Topeka series. They took care of business. They beat them in 2 games. But then the Port Huron Prowlers came around again, and you're familiar a little bit with the Port Huron Prowlers and what Matt Graham and Alex Johnson have built there in Port Huron. And it felt like to me that this was even tougher for the Black Bears to get through the second round because Port Huron just was a better team. I'm going to guess, if I ask this question to you, you're probably not surprised in Port Huron getting better. They're more physical and they rely on the physical game, but they've brought in other players that are skilled players from D1 schools. And are you not surprised that Port Huron just made it even tougher this year for the Black Bears to get to the finals?
No, just this league in general's, taking a turn, and they're kind of getting away from, a lot of the bullshit, and teams are starting to realize that they want to bring in better players if they want to be a better team. And I think Port Huron is doing a good job of that, but I think they're doing a good job still maintaining, their just the way they play, like, their grit, their style, that they bring in these better players, but they get them to play their style while still being a good player, which I think they're doing a good job of that. And, I think if they keep moving in that direction, I think they're going to be more successful as the years go on. But I think Binghamton, teams like Binghamton and Athens are setting the standards, and I think teams are starting to see that, and they're trying to follow those teams' standards, and that's why this league's getting better.
Now, you didn't play this year. There was a contract dispute. You didn't want to play for Topeka. Everybody knows that. But Don, the problem here is Binghamton lost their first game ever in the finals, without you. Are you the reason why they won the 2 championships the last 2 years?
Absolutely not. They would have won those championships without me. They're a good team. Like I was mentioning you earlier that the IceCats, they just look hungry. They look relentless. Yeah. And that's going to get you through playoffs. And you know what? Sometimes, in my opinion, sometimes it's okay to lose, early in a playoff series, because maybe it wakes up the guys or wakes you up and, realize like, holy shit, this isn't going to be a cakewalk, so I don't always think that's a bad thing, but I'll give that team credit though. I mean, they look quick. They play physical. I mean, they look like they want it, and obviously they deserve to be there. So
what's interesting to me, though, Don, this year is that it looks like if Binghamton's going to win a championship, they're going to rely less on their ability to score a lot of goals in a game, and they're going to rely more on defense and playing a defensive-minded game. And that doesn't mean defensemen. It doesn't necessarily mean Dominic Tomei, the goaltender. It means everybody on the ice is really kind of honing in on their defensive ability, playing a good two-way game. Because, they beat Port Huron 1-0. They beat Port Huron 2-1. And then to get the first win for them in the series, they had to beat the IceCats 2-1 in the finals. So my question to you is this: you and I have watched NHL hockey. I mean, I know the Flyers haven't made a lot of Stanley Cups since you were born or alive. Yeah. However, and the Rangers has only done it a couple times themselves. We've always heard that old adage, defense wins championships. And I wouldn't say that the Black Bears won their first 2 championships based solely on defense. There was a lot of great offensive play by the Black Bears. This year, it does feel like the defense-minded game is going to win them a championship if they are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to whatever team's going to execute their game plan. But our past 2 championships that we had, I mean, our teams played two-way hockey, a lot of back checking. We definitely blocked a lot of shots.
Yes.
When it counted, and that was, that's huge. But you're right. I mean, defense does win games, and like I said, it's going to come down to whoever executes their game plan better, and whoever wants, whoever plays the D zone better, I think, we'll come out on top.
Now, you already touched upon it a little bit. Game 1, the IceCats beat the Black Bears 5-2. The last goal was a empty netter with 7 seconds left. So it was really a 4-2 game. And you talked a little bit with me about speed and how relentless they were. The IceCats were. Do you think that took Sherwood's team, a little bit back? Like, whoa, wait a second here. These guys came to play.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know where they fell in the standings. I'm pretty sure. I mean, when I last checked, what was 4th or 5th?
Yeah,
right.
4th in the Continental. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you look at teams like Athens and Columbus, usually you're thinking they're going to be the ones that come out on top. Those are going to be the teams you're going to see in the finals. But like I said, I mean, from some of the games I was watching, Pee Dee, they're fast. They look hungry. They seem like they're hitting everything. And like I said before, I mean, they obviously deserve to be there, but it might have took Binghamton by surprise. The 4th place team going in there versus the best team in the league. But like I said, at the end of the day, you know what, that loss they took, maybe it woke them up, opened their eyes, and and they all looked at each other and said, you know what, like let's get going, and obviously they showed that the following night, winning 2-1, which is huge. So I think they play the next 3 in Binghamton now. So they put themselves in a pretty good spot.
Now, Don, you've played in some of the southern cities. Some people talked about the ice down there obviously in Florence, South Carolina. The humidity was up. Does that really, when you guys get on the ice and you start skating, and you've played in some of these southern cities before, from Biloxi to Norfolk, which I don't know if Norfolk's is south is, I'm thinking it is, but you know what I'm talking about. Does that ice, if it's a little bit softer, affect the team?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's more, I think more so for me personally. I think, the southern rinks, if you're not used to them, I mean, they get super hot, and you get off after the first period and you're looking around at everybody and just like, man, like you just look around like, is anybody else as hot as I am right now? It's worse than getting off the ice, say in Binghamton. It's just hotter in those rinks. Sometimes the ice isn't that great. The puck kind of bounces around a lot. But I mean, I found it always difficult. I mean, I played in a lot of southern rinks as home barns, so I kind of got used to it, but not playing in it all season and then have to go down there, and playing it does take a toll on the body, because you don't realize how much you're sweating, how much fluid you're losing. And you just don't really prepare for that.
We have at least a guaranteed Game 3 and Game 4 in Binghamton on Friday and Saturday night. How important is the home crowd? Friday's basically sold out as you and I are talking right now, and Saturday is getting pretty darn close to being sold out. I ask players this all the time. A lot of times they say they don't always hear the crowd while they're actually playing the game itself. But how important is the crowd in Binghamton going to be for the Black Bears players while they're, getting ready and playing?
I mean, it's super important, right? That's why you play. You want that home ice advantage. I mean, that's everything in any league you play in. I agree with the part, when you're playing mid game, you kind of zone out. You really don't, hear fans too much. But, when you come out in the warm ups and you see those fans already there, ready to cheer you on, or, right after the national anthem when they're cheering, it kind of gets you revved up and it kind of gets you going. And, there's nothing more than getting a big W on home ice. And that's the reason why you play, right? Like I said, You want that home ice advantage.
You are one of the few guys that when you were out on the ice, I do think that you engaged with the fans, especially at a stoppage of play. Maybe you're being escorted to the penalty box, or maybe even off the ice after a fight, with less than 3 or 4 minutes left to go. And you would engage with the fans. You enjoy that, I think, as much as anybody has that I've seen with Binghamton. Was that more of something that you kind of grew into at the end of your career, versus did you do that a lot in the beginning and the middle of your career?
Not so much in the middle. I mean, or in the beginning, I had to kind of try and establish myself on whatever team I was playing on. But, when I don't want to say I got comfortable, but when I think through the years, I kind of got to know the fans better and realized that, like how much money they put into the players, or how much money they put into buying, tickets for their kids, or how much their kids look up to us. And, it's to me, want to show them as much appreciation as possible. And I kind of just try my best to give them, the best night they can have, or just make them smile, or, or anything really. I mean, it's almost kind of a thank you to the fans for coming out and supporting, the team and our hockey. I mean, they all could go, and watch an AHL, NHL team if they really wanted to, you know what I mean? But they choose to support us. So, we want to give back as much as we can and show our appreciation for them.
I didn't ask this earlier when we were talking about the academy. Do they have Twizzlers anywhere there for you?
Nah, the academy's kind of
strict.
We have this little little snack area. We all chip in and buy snacks, and I think the kid that does the grocery shopping for us kind of got some stuff that wasn't approved by the lieutenant, so they kind of came in, bombarded, and threw a lot of stuff out. Oh. But yeah, they're not like terribly strict there, but like we're not allowed to drink energy drinks. We're not allowed to. They really don't want us like eating candy and stuff, I guess. Just honestly, because now that the burn days are here, it's super hot out, so we're in our bunker gear all day. So we're sweating all day. So they want us to stay hydrated and not really, not really eat bad or eat sweets or have anything really getting our heart racing, because we're going to be going into high intensity stuff.
Do you miss the Twizzlers?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure Alyssa bought some Twizzlers when she went grocery shopping a couple of days ago.
Oh, good. What you should do is get in the car on Saturday, come up to the game on Saturday, and just sit in the crowd and eat Twizzlers. I guarantee you the fans would eat that up.
Yeah. I gotta see what's going on. We got a lot of, I go to the academy on my off days to keep up with my training and keep up with stuff, so I don't really forget it. But
we could probably get you a ticket right behind the Binghamton bench, and you could just eat a Twizzler behind Brant. That would be hilarious.
Man, honestly, I think I'll just sneak in the players' locker room. I'll just walk around all day.
Oh my gosh! Someone would have to kick you out eventually, right?
Yeah. Hey, maybe Brant will tell me to bring my equipment. I just go out for warm-ups and then get off and get a shower and then go eat some Twizzlers in the stands.
I like that. That's great. Just make sure that if you do that, bring a Twizzler up to the press box, and then we'll have one up there. That would be awesome. What's it going to – all right, let me ask you this question. What's going through the minds – like you were close with Tyson and a few of the guys that are still on the team today. What's going through their mind right now? It's Tuesday as we're doing this talk. Wednesday I'll be recording with Taylor, my co-host, and then Wednesday night this will be out. What are the guys thinking about right now during this week before the final 3 games of the finals could potentially be played? What are they thinking about right now?
Who's making the tee time so they can golf tomorrow? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, honestly, it's they all been there. I mean, even the new guys, they've all been there. They know what's coming. So I don't think anybody's really nervous. I don't think anybody's really stressing. I think they're staying even keel, which is good. And I think they know that they dominate on home ice, and they rarely see a loss on home ice. And so I honestly think they're going to come out Friday, and I think they're going to make a statement Friday.
Gotcha, because you have to do that on home ice, right? That first game on home ice, just like Pee Dee did in game 1. You got to come out. You got, they're well coached. They knew that this was their first year, inaugural season, and they went out there and they took it to the defending 2-time champions. Well, now the 2-time champions want to do the same thing to them on their home ice in Game 3. And Game 3 is so very important. Explain to the fans why a Game 3 or a Game 5 is so important.
Well, I mean, especially for home ice, I mean, if they happen to lose that game, I mean, you're down 2-1, but that's when panic kind of starts setting in. And realizing we lose next game, it's all over. So I think that's why I mentioned earlier that home ice is super important in playoffs because, like I said, they could be even keel right now. They're at home in their own apartments. They make their own meals. They don't have to worry about where they're going to eat, what they're going to do, worry about anything with the hotel. So they're comfortable at home right now. They can do their routines. If they want to go to the rink for something, they can just walk over to the rink, So like I said, I mean, that's everything that's very important for this game 3 coming up.
Yeah, no, 100%. If you could be in the locker room Friday night, what would be your message to the team?
Oh, man. To be honest, I'd probably just look at all of them, tell them, let's just go fucking win this game and win this championship so we can celebrate and have beers.
There you go. That's it.
That's it. Just win.
Just win. Don, thank you so very much for coming back on the show. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always great to find out. I know the fans love to find out how the Fire Academy is going, Cadet Olivieri. And at least I said it right that time, which I get to call you a firefighter August 21st, right? 20th? 21st?
August 20th.
All right. Well, you graduate on that day. The next day you find out where you're going to be. Then we'll call you firefighter Olivieri. Don, thank you very much for coming on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and it's always good to get a text from you every once in a while as well.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoy being on your show all the time. Whenever you want to talk, let me know. I mean, it's kind of weird you don't mention anything about the Flyers when they're in playoffs, but hey, I understand.
No. The Rangers.
I understand.
No, yes, you do understand, because when the Rangers are in, you don't want to talk about the Rangers being in when they're in.
Absolutely not.
Although, let's be perfectly honest, you hate the Penguins probably more than the Rangers, right?
Yeah. I like Sidney Crosby a lot.
Okay.
But I hate Pitt as an organization, obviously. But but that was a layup for the Flyers. The Flyers should have won that series. That was a layup. I told everybody that was going to be the layup, and I personally think the Flyers are going to lose a 4-1 series this series to Carolina.
Yeah, well, Carolina's good, and they've been proven. Carolina's proven that they can go into the second and third round of the playoffs. They just can't get all the way to the dance, which is unfortunate. For me, as a Rangers fan, I hate the Islanders more than anybody, right? That's just written in stone. And then it's usually, Pittsburgh, Boston, or the Flyers for the most part. However, the most entertaining times I've ever had at an NHL game has been down at the Spectrum when the Spectrum was still standing, because the Flyers fans in the Spectrum were the most ruthless, craziest, dangerous, violent human beings ever. And then you'd walk out of the building and you get to the parking lot area where the parking lot started, and they turned into these awesome, just cool Philadelphia sports fans. In the arena, they were the worst, evil, crazy, violent, horrible people. Outside, totally nice. I swear to God, it was the best Spectrum that caused that.
That's Philadelphia for you.
It is. All right. He is Don Olivieri. And we'll talk to you guys next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. We're at the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena. It's written right in front of me, so it's easy for me to remember that. And we're in the press box here, and I am here with Brooks Hill, the broadcaster, media director of the Binghamton Black Bears. Brooks, welcome back to the show. It's good to talk to you. And, no surprise, we're back in the finals again.
Yeah, it's been over 60 games now since we've talked on the air for the Power Play Post Show. Really? Yeah, we did. I think we did a preseason interview, and now we're all the way back here in the final stretch.
Holy cow! This has been an interesting season because, of course, the team has done well. They finished with one less loss, one more overtime loss. I think they went into overtime less games, which is the reason why they have the same winning percentage or points percentage, and then, of course, the same points with 143. What was your take on this season? Because Taylor and I discussed this at the beginning of the season and during the season. Could the team get any better than they were last year? And it almost seems like they hit the same mark.
I think they had some same highs. I also think they had some bigger lows at this point of the season.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Getting shut out by Pee Dee here at home was a big low for the team at the time. And that was in the dog days of the season. At the time you think it's okay, just a throwaway game in January, and you can kind of flush that one down the toilet, but now that you're playing Pee Dee again, it starts to resurface a little bit.
Sure.
And people bring that into question, but the way that the two teams are playing from 3 months ago or 4 months ago to where we are now, I think is definitely very different. Also, Twin City Thunderbirds come in.
Yeah, they beat
us twice in the same weekend here at home, and I believe that was after the Pee Dee shutout.
Yeah.
And then so we went 3 straight home games without a win.
Yeah.
People have forgotten about that, but I would consider that was the low point of the season, I would think. Obviously, the big winning streaks that the Black Bears were able to sustain throughout the year was pretty neat. At the beginning, Ivan Bondarenko had like 25 games in a row where he had an assist.
And they went on a 15-game winning streak as well. So,
they're no stranger to winning streaks. I've learned that over the last couple of seasons. But losing 3 games in a row, whether one of those games was in overtime, that didn't happen the year before.
No.
So each season's had its own different taste. I'm assuming that you're going to play the audio from today's presser before I come on, and it's been a thought in the back of my head is trying to get players' perspective who have been here for all 3 years of these finals runs. And, each year there's a little bit different. I think we heard it from Tyson, and then I asked Dan Stone personally on the record, and I think he did a good job of summarizing that, this year I think there is more depth than what we had last year on the team. I think you see that in the ice time that's getting shared between the forwards and the defense, where maybe a little bit last year we were relying on 2 lines more than we were relying on 3. And I thought in game 1 down in Pee Dee, I thought the third line was the best line. And you need that on a, playoff run like this. This is going to be the most playoff games in a single season that the Black Bears have played once we get to, Saturday. And we know Saturday is going to happen.
Right. And I also felt that this year that maybe defensively this has been the best defensive team that we've seen in the 3-year run as well. Do you agree with that? Because I know I asked a question about, the goal scoring, and Coach said during the press conference that, no, we want to score more goals. We do. But I also feel like whenever we need to, if we get those 2 goals, we can then sit back and play defense and better than anybody in this league.
I don't think the second part of that statement is false. I would still say I would say we're probably even par with what I would thought the way that our defense played the last season.
Okay.
The first year we won the championship, I think our defense is better this day right now.
Yes.
By far. I would say it's very comparable. And I think that we've done a great job of finding offensive defensemen to replace Dakota Bond.
Sure.
Indorazio, players like Dan Weber and Cam Cervoni, who were part of last year's team and then the year before that, have continued to elevate their game. And even though they might still be in the third pairing, you can tell that their development has skyrocketed from the first time that we saw them here on the ice. One thing that I think that we are better than everybody at is it's okay for us to win a 1-goal game, and it's okay for us to win a low-scoring game. I was having a conversation with one of our cameramen during the Port Huron series and asking about, do you think that we can do like what we did with Topeka to Port Huron? And I said, it's a possibility, But I also think that we're a team that can protect a 1-goal lead better than anybody. We saw in Port Huron, you won a game 1-0, and then you win game 3 2-1.
Right.
We were outscored in that series 4-6 or 6-4, and we're the team that's in the finals.
Yeah. Well, that happened in the second round too. We got outscored by Port Huron, and we're here.
Yeah. No, that's exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. You have a mindset and a system that these guys can execute to win low-scoring games. I'll make an NHL comparison.
Sure.
Take the top 2 teams in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. The Colorado Avalanche want to score as many goals as possible.
9-6 against Minnesota in the first game of the second round of the playoffs. Yeah, I watched that game, and crazy.
And then look at the top team in the Eastern Conference with the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
They don't score 9 goals. They are going to win a game 3-0, 3-2.
Yeah.
In a much more low-scoring affair, or 2-1. Like, I think they had 2 games at 2-1 last series against Ottawa.
But which one has the advantage? Well, we could see that Binghamton, with their ability to shut people down, that's an advantage for them.
It is, and I think Pee Dee thinks their advantage is that they have more speed and they want to capitalize on those. The way you can kind of look at it is, okay, think of a dartboard.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have 3 darts in your turn to throw a bullseye from a yard away, or would you rather have 10 darts to throw from 5 yards away?
Yeah.
You kind of pick and choose how you want to go at it. In one hand, you have more darts, so you think you have more chances to hit a bullseye, or you know that, hey, with your 3 darts from 1 yard away, you're able to get the bullseye more consistently.
You're basically sending 4 receivers down the field in football, throwing it up and hoping that one of those guys picks it up.
Yeah, like that, just to make another sports analogy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but that's really what it comes down to. You're really kind of almost throwing a Hail Mary, but you're doing it on 2nd down, 3rd down, and 4th down.
Yeah, and then as long as it doesn't end up getting intercepted in return for a touchdown, you're okay with the result.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid to try it again. And I think that's what we saw with Pee Dee in the last 2 games is they're not afraid to throw for a home run pass down the ice, go from blue line to blue line.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't touch it and it's icing, they live with that because they think they're going to connect on it more times than they're not. So,
it kind of worked in game 1, and then game 2, maybe not so much.
No, I thought the forwards did a much better job getting back defensively in game 2, especially on the back check, because the defense is obviously trying to force the forwards to the outside. Keep that puck near the wall.
Yep.
And while they're forcing them to the outside, PD's trying to obviously get around them, get back in towards the middle. You have help coming back from your F1s and your F2s, who I thought did a much better job of getting back to protect the house on Saturday rather than what we saw on Friday.
Right. When you're protecting the slot area a little bit more like they did on Saturday, it's just more effective. And your goaltender sees shots, but he doesn't see the best shots, and which is very good. However, the Black Bears did something very uncharacteristic on Saturday. They won with 2 goals that were basically shot from the point. Come across the blue line, you got Romakers and you got Dan Stone, 2 defensemen, taking that shot. What do you think it was about those 2 shots that Colgan could not catch up with? Because I thought, at least on one of them, he probably had a good view of it.
I think on the on Scotty's goal on Friday, I think that's the one that he just maybe reacted to poorly. It looked like that one had gone straight through the 5-hole. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when a goalie drops into the butterfly, they get their blocker hand moving, which is holding the stick, and they are trying to direct the puck at the same time that they're dropping down, like moving it into the corner. I think that time he just flat out just missed the puck on the redirect, and it goes between his legs.
Yeah.
Durazio's that night on Friday, got underneath the arm between the body and the blocker, I think, or the body and the glove side. I was on the other end of the ice, so hard to remember.
You're in that corner.
I was. So I think with that one, it's just puck had bounced to him, and Durazio had skated in about even with the tops of the circles. I think it's just a good shot. We saw him score a very similar shot on the 5-on-3 on Saturday, where Durazio holding the puck. Granted, I know Pee Dee was down 2 men at the time, but when you don't mark the puck, the D-man is going to walk in as close as he can, and I think Durazio has shown why he's quarterbacking that power play unit. And, he's had 24 goals in the regular season, and then he's scored in back-to-back games down in PD, so that's been really good. And then the Dan Stone goal, great screen by C.J. Stubbs out in front. I think that goes a little bit unnoticed. Kirkby, obviously, step one, win the face-off cleanly back.
Yep.
And we had seen with Durazio and Stone, with Kirkby's line, and with Anderson and Romakers, that they've been lining up a little bit in like a set formation where the defense has been, not directly behind the two wingers, where they've been shifted over a little bit, where they're trying to win that face-off, make the pass across, and then fire from there.
And it opens up different types of lanes.
It does. It gets the defense thinking for sure. On Dan Stone's particular goal, just a clean face-off win by Kirkby straight back to Stone, who chooses to carry towards the middle, and then Stubbs is in front and then goes glove side, and with Stubbs standing in front of Colgan, did not see it.
Do you think, because I did ask this during the press conference, do you think that the Black Bears have an edge up because they've had so many, going all the way back to Watertown last year in the second round, they have so much film, so much to look at, or so much to talk about, so many notes to probably read over when it comes to, Brendan Colgan?
I think it helps in the preparation. You can tell if you watch practice the way that Coach Sherwood and Quinville are emphasizing on the forwards,
right,
on where to shoot, how to shoot, and then also getting to the front of the net or to the side, assuming where the puck is going to be for the rebound, crashing the net and those kind of things. We did see him particularly struggle a lot more in Game 2 with his rebound control, and that led to some more chances. And obviously the Black Bears weren't able to capitalize on a ton of them because they only had 2 goals. So I think on home ice, it is going to be a fact that the puck's going to bounce a little bit more true, but that's also going to help Pee Dee on their side of things as well, because they had some chances on passes going across the ice that would hop over the player's stick at the last second. It will cause a misfire or a heel on a slap shot. So I think we're going to see some high-scoring games this weekend.
You really?
I do. I think one of the games will be low-scoring. I don't know which one, but I assume if we see a low-scoring game the first night, we'll see a high-scoring game the second night, or it's going to be vice versa.
Gotcha. No, I hear you. When it comes to PD, they have speedy skaters, and we used to say that about the Black Bears, and I'm not saying that they're slow, so that's bad. But I wonder if PD is just one little half step a little bit quicker than the Black Bears, but it looked like on Saturday they were able to nullify that with the way they played defensively.
I think positioning is a big thing. They can make the ice seem smaller if you're in the right spots where there's not as much room.
Dan Stone is perfect at that. He's great at that.
And, that's why he's, on that top pair defensively for the Black Bears. He and Durazio have been essentially leading the team in ice time during this postseason run because Stone's out there all the time on the PK. He's on the second power play unit, and then he's going to be out there 5-on-5 for a majority of the time. Same with Durazio, and he's on the first power play unit. So those two guys, when they get to the right spots, can really make life difficult for the IceCats or Port Huron or Topeka. I think that one thing that we have failed to mention is Coach Graham is a good coach for PD.
Absolutely.
And he came up with a game plan that was, good to win Game 1. And truthfully, I think they tried to stick with the same game plan in Game 2. It's just Coach Sherwood
countered it,
made some adjustments, and he was able to nullify that. I was talking with some people from Pee Dee at the end of the game Saturday, and they said, boy, like, we have not played a first period that bad in quite a while. You know, they only had 3 shots on goal, and they couldn't generate anything on offense. Granted, they were in the penalty box for a little bit of time, but we saw how long the penalty box, or how long the Black Bears were in the box for in period number 2. And as the game went along, I thought Pee Dee certainly played better on Saturday, but they really stumbled out of the gate in the first period, and that's why the Black Bears were able to jump out to a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, that second goal obviously was on the power play. I was just after Tyson Kirkby took a high stick after a clearing attempt. And I think there's a lot of people in the hockey world that are trying to report on hockey or trying to talk about hockey that are confused by the rules. And basically the rules state, and this is in the NHL rule book, and it's also in the FPHL rule book, and it was also in the AHL rule book way back when. If you try to clear the puck or shoot the puck or pass the puck in any one of those 3 instances, and you wildly take a swing at the puck, and it comes up and it hits somebody above the shoulders and hits them in the face or in the head and cuts them open, it's still going to be called a double minor for high sticking. I think it's unfortunate that one of the things I tell people all the time, there are less rules in hockey than there is in any other sport out there. And yet people still get them wrong and get confused by them. And even somebody who I absolutely beloved, Tom Callahan, said it right on air. Oh, that's not high sticking. That's not high. It is. Yes, it's a follow through, but it's on a wild swing, because nobody's stick needs to come up this high and up over somebody's head and hits them in the head if it's a controlled swing, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I understand the opinion. I can understand the gripe from the IceCats fans as well. Unfortunately, not a lot of replays down there at the Florence Center available to the public, or really, up in the broadcast booth now. That's something that I've dealt with.
Because you guys couldn't get to see it. Yeah.
Yes, but a lot of people in the arena also did not get to see it as well. They do things a little bit differently with their tech setup down there, which is fine. It works for them. But I could see where people in real time thought it was a follow-through. The guy's making a play on the puck, and I think that's a situation where, unfortunately, the ice comes back to hurt you a little bit.
Because the puck went backwards, didn't go forwards.
Correct. Realistically, I've gone back and I've looked at it multiple times from my broadcast stream. Now, granted, if Tom has a different angle on his stream because he has access to all the cameras, I completely understand, and I could be wrong on this. But I think what had happened is initially Kirkby reaches his stick out on the play, blocks the clear attempt, and that's why the puck ends up going backwards.
Yep.
Bedard's stick does come up, and obviously it hits Tyson in the face, and then he's bleeding out there on the ice. That's what I think happened. And sure enough, for the longest time, the last 2 weeks, we've taken quite a while with these reviews.
Yes, we have.
Which kind of kills the momentum of the game a little bit, in my eyes. But you want to make sure that you get things right.
Yeah.
And I can understand, the lengthy pauses in the game. Obviously, the Black Bears just wanted to line up and they wanted to go. Hey, you called it a double minor. Let's go. Clearly, the referee came over, saw Tyson was bleeding while the athletic training staff are looking at him.
Yeah.
But I can also understand, like that at that time, when that happened, it was still 0-0, and they want to make sure that they get that call right. Obviously, if that's a follow through, and it's not a penalty, then it's just going to remain a 5-on-4.
Yep.
Which I thought Pee Dee did a really good job of killing the 5-on-4 penalties on both nights.
Yeah. They did.
And that's a huge momentum swing. So they wanted to make sure they get it right, and I think that they did. And, you have to pull a player off the ice, and you got a minute 47 of 5-on-3 time, and the Black Bears made them pay.
Yeah, and they made them pay within like 30 or so seconds. So it would have still been under the 5-on-4, but we don't know what the position would have been like and whether or not they would have still scored on that. But it's definitely something that everybody's kind of talked about since that night, and I wanted to get your opinion on it for sure. So Friday and Saturday, we're looking at probably 2 sellouts, correct?
Yes. By the time Friday's game starts, I would expect that Saturday's game is sold out. We're already sold out of Friday night's tickets. and the only ones that are available are people putting them up for resale. So just warning everybody, if you see a ticket on Ticketmaster and it's red and not blue, that means a fan's already purchased that ticket, and they are putting it back up on the resale market. So the Black Bears have no control over the pricing of those tickets, and we do not see any of the profits from that tickets. The team already collected the money from the initial person selling that ticket.
So very interesting. So just look out for that, fans. If you see a ticket on Ticketmaster in red, it's a resale. If it's blue, you're buying it from the team. Pretty clear as day, right?
Yes. Now the red ticket it is a real ticket.
Yeah.
You will get in the doors if you buy that ticket. It's just people are trying to express their
frustrations.
I would say freedom of capitalism.
Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah. Yes.
To profit. And maybe they think that they can sit a game out, or it's, hey, if we get an offer for these tickets, great, we're selling them. If not, we're going to use them. So it's whatever. I would say buyers just beware. That when you're doing third party.
This is kind of normal now, right? This is kind of like the normalcy of stuff like this. I know I've bought tickets to go see the New York Rangers down at MSG on the third party market because it's easy. I mean, like if I know that all right, 24 hours from now I'm going to see the Rangers play in the playoffs. Okay, we all know that's not happening, but I've done that before where I could go on. Oh, okay, you know what? I'm willing to pay that $250 or that $300 to get that ticket and everything and buy it. Well, people are doing that now with the Binghamton Black Bears.
Yeah. Last season, myself, EJ, Trevor, and Bobby went to Philadelphia and saw them play the Hurricanes, since I don't get to see them in Raleigh anymore right now. And we bought verified resale tickets. We still got in. And,
good
last
seats?
year, yes,
seats?
in the lower bowl. And, last year Philly wasn't a playoff team, so they were relatively cheap, whether it was an advertiser who gets them part of their package and they're just trying to, get rid of them so that way there's not people or there's not empty seats like in the camera view.
Yeah.
Things like that will happen. And, verified resale, definitely had the tickets. We're definitely there. We have the photos to prove it. So just wanted to give a warning to everybody that, hey, yes, those people are looking to make money, but they also are going to provide you real tickets for whatever price that you're willing to pay.
That reminded me as we were talking about the NHL, one of the really cool things this season for the Black Bears was that the Booster Club did go out and as you guys went out to Indiana, Columbus, Indiana, you guys got to stop in Columbus, Ohio, and see an NHL game. I got to imagine that was a pretty cool gift from the Booster Club to the team for them to be able to do that. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I really do think it's a special thing that we have here in Binghamton, that the Booster Club has the means, the way, and really, honestly, the compassion to be able to do that for the team.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because the Booster Club, I think, has come a long way from where they were 5 years ago in terms of dealing with the Black Bears.
Sure.
I think that in past iterations, with the Senators and the Devils, I think the Booster Club was probably needed or called upon in very different ways than what they are now.
Sure.
With the FPHL.
Yeah.
Granted, I think that they have a lot more access to the players now than what they do back in the AHL days.
Which is good business for them.
Yes, because it helps them drive up membership, and he also gets people involved. Their end-of-year party and the Christmas party have been really big fundraisers.
How about the bowling? Because I might do the bowling next year because I'm a good bowler, and I used to bowl with some of the Binghamton Senators players back in the early 2000s. I'd kind of like to go bowling with these guys.
Yeah, I heard that was a big success. Unfortunately, I was in a pickleball tournament that day, so I did not get to participate. But the golf tournament in early October, at the very beginning of the season, that was really fun to be a part of as well. And, events like those really help them drive up funds for the year.
Yeah.
So that they can do other parties. If they wanted to rent a bus and go to Danbury, they can do that.
Or buy tickets for you guys to go see a NHL game, which is, just a cool thing to do, because I thought you guys were going to be in town on that one night, and I talked to, I think it was either Brant or somebody, and I was like, you guys are making it? No, we're in Columbus, Ohio, and going to an NHL game. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it was really neat, obviously, to take part with that with everybody. We also got to go to a local Italian restaurant in downtown Columbus.
I saw the picture, yeah.
So that was really neat as well, and the staff got to go down into the locker room after the game. John Brown knew a guy named AJ who used to play here in Binghamton, and now is the let's see here. I want to say he's the team operations director.
Okay.
For the Blue Jackets. Had to think of the title there for a second, and Jeets was texting him during the game, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like come down like after the game." Luckily, the Blue Jackets won, so I think that probably would have been a different conversation had they lost to the Rangers that night. But you know what? It was really fun to be a part of. Coach Quinville is buddies with Ivan Provorov from their time in juniors together, so they were also down as well.
Nice.
And we just got to see their team facility and look at the locker room, the team kitchen, the workout facility.
A couple of interactions with a couple of the players, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Got to pick Ivan's head. Ivan's dog is like internet famous.
Oh. Like Tucker famous or no?
No, like unfortunately, I think Tucker might be minor league compared to Ivan's dog. I'll tell you what, he Drake the Pup Star is his Instagram handle.
I will look it up.
It's pretty funny that Ivan and his wife have put that on together. Just filmed the dog going around the rink all the time. So, but that was really neat to see. And then you just got to take a look at like what someone's future could be. Really neat to see Jeets, Aiden, obviously Q's already lived it, but also like with Brant too, just of like aspirations of like where people want to be one day. Like I actually really focused on the way that they did like their media scrum that was going on in the locker room post game.
So after the game when you guys went down, you got to see some of the post game scrum?
I did.
Cool.
So,
are you going to bring that? Are you going to bring that to Binghamton? Because that would make this guy happy. But we can't get the TV guys to be here. Tom, I'm talking to you. You guys got to be here after games so we can do stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be something that's really nice to do. Unfortunately, I just don't think it can. I don't think it is plausible with enough reporters to do post game.
It used to be. I mean, we used to have 3 TV guys down there, plus sometimes the Spectrum 1 guy would come down. We would have the beat writer from the press. There would be me. So that right there was like 5-6 people. And it was perfect in that one room down there where we did it just, last week and everything, or 2 weeks ago. And we did it after every single game. And it was a blast. On my YouTube channel, you can go back and see some of the old ones. I got stuff with Silvenberg and Zabinajad and some guys that have made it to the NHL on my YouTube page where we used to do the post-game scrums, which was kind of fun, but you learned a lot. That was the important thing here.
Yes, and I thought it was a little bit weird how they did it. They literally just did it like one person at a time, and he would do an interview like in front of the stall. And then once he was done, he would walk out and the next guy would come in, and then they would just shift over to the next stall. Now, granted, I don't know if every team does it like that.
Interesting.
But that's just the way the Blue Jackets were handling it that night. And then after they got done talking to the players, they all went to the press conference room, and then that's when Rick Bones was going to talk about the game. So,
did you go in and watch that?
I did not. I stayed with the group. I did not deviate off the path. I definitely did not want to be. We didn't have passes or anything like that. So, we were staying with Provorov and AJ as closely as we could.
Fair enough.
Just to make sure that like nobody was like, "Who are you and what are you doing down here?"
If the Black Bears finished this story this weekend, there's not many teams that have done this in the last 125 years of professional hockey. 3 teams in the NHL have won 3 or more and above. Montreal, Toronto, and the New York Islanders. There's been one team in the 50s. I can't even remember their name. It wasn't the Hershey Bears, which I was surprised on, that did it in the AHL. We all know that the Florida Everblades did it just a few years ago. Well, finished their story a couple years ago. of winning 3 in a row. No one's done it in the SPHL. The Fort Wayne Comets did it in the International Hockey League. The last 3 years of the IHL, before it merged with the AHL, they did it. Have you kind of stopped yet and reflected and gone, they're this close to doing something that very few teams in pro hockey have done in North America?
I've thought about it because it's a good talking point.
Yeah.
For the broadcast. I don't know if it's made its way down to the locker room on that big of a scale kind of yet. They're probably more a little bit short-minded about, hey, let's win game 3 and go up 2-1.
Of course, yes.
Rather than something big and, a humongous accomplishment.
This is for us to talk about,
yeah.
Right? These are the type of things that we are supposed to talk about, and then we can ask them about afterwards.
I truth be told, I don't know if they know how many teams have won 3 championships in a row in pro hockey history, but I know for a fact that they all know that nobody in the FPHL has done it 3 times.
Right. Yes.
So they would love to be the first ones to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And, they'd love to put their names on the cup again for a 3rd time on that same ring.
Yeah, no, that would be pretty amazing and pretty spectacular. So, Brooks, before we let you go, what are you expecting this weekend? I know that's a hard question.
Yeah, it is a little bit. I expect the crowds to be juiced and amped up, ready to go. That's always a big help. And we played in an away barn that holds more than what we hold here in our arena. That's not a knock on the Vision Veterans Memorial Arena. It's just a fact.
Impressive that 7,800 fans showed up to Pee Dee down in Florence at the Civic Center. That was amazing. Congratulations to them. That's the kind of stuff we want to see, especially with maybe a team leaving the FPHL, going to somewhere else, and but to have a team like Pee Dee step up and go, okay, yeah, but we can hit this mark. And I thought that was great. But the Veterans Memorial Arena, we have been the gold medal, the staple, whatever you want to call it, basically of the FPHL for the past 3 years.
Yeah, I would think so, and I think that also just goes to, show how your perspective on things can change. Because, truth be told, in the AHL, this was probably not the crown jewel of the AAA league, and especially in the last years of the Devils, compared to what was, being put out at the forefront with, brand new state-of-the-art arenas, expansions, renovations. Now, obviously, without the pandemic, who knows what really happens there. But in this league, it has absolutely become that, not only just because of the playing surface, but the facilities as well. Like, granted, our locker room is tremendous, and we're one of the few teams, if not the only one, that has a workout facility in their same building. That's something that we don't really see a lot, like when we're on the road. And then the visiting locker room is top notch. I
have not been in that one for about 30 years. I have no idea what it looks like today.
So it has stalls like our locker room does.
Okay.
Granted, they are split up, kind of like where
different sections, right?
Yes. When a team for the FPHL comes in, they take the 2 locker rooms that obviously are conjoined together.
Yeah, in this one corner over here.
But like if it was a youth rental or something like that, it's something that it can be split. That's something that could be split up. That way, you could have more teams and locker rooms that are available.
Yeah, because the locker rooms go all the way down to that other corner over there. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense that there's multiples, so to speak, for youth.
Yes. So I think one thing that I foresee happening this weekend is we saw the kind of start that Binghamton had on Friday with the first game. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that from Pee Dee in the start of this Friday's game for Game 3. It's just a matter of fact of long travel, and it does eat at you a little bit. It's over a 12-hour bus ride with stops to get here from Florence, South Carolina, and they're supposed to be coming in, Wednesday night. and then they're going to practice Thursday, try to shake it out, and then they'll have a morning skate on Friday.
Yeah. Which is very similar to what the Black Bears did last week.
Yes, and I would think that, maybe Binghamton comes out with a little bit more pep in their step on Friday to start the game than Pee Dee does. I surely would hope so.
Yeah.
Being at home, being back in your own bed since Sunday night. I don't think you really have an excuse there on that front. And then, based on the way that Friday goes, you're going to see a team, one or the other, play with some with some desperation, and they're not going to be afraid to take chances, because what do you have to lose if you come up empty-handed? I would think whoever's winning on Saturday in Game 4 might be a little bit more conservative, knowing that, hey, our season doesn't end tonight.
Right.
But you know what? Only time will tell, and we could see one team empty the tank on Friday, and they might not have anything left for Saturday, and that could be the case. So, who knows?
It'll be very interesting, but the way these two teams have played against each other in the regular season and now, we could see 5 games. We could certainly see 5 games, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And it's just a testament to how much better the Fed has gotten in your time. You've been here for 4 full years now. The Fed, quality-wise, has gotten so much better. Does it still have its hiccups here and there? Absolutely. But the quality of play on the ice has gotten so much better. We didn't even have a team get less than, 8 or 9 wins this year? I mean, we over the last few years, we've had teams get 3 wins, 2 wins, 1 win, that type of thing. The quality of play has just gotten so much better, and it's even shown more this year in the finals.
I think so. I think at the beginning of the year, Indiana was like the butt of the joke a little bit, but they had a good surge in the middle of the season to the latter half of the year. And they were able to beat Athens in Athens. Same amount of times that the Black Bears beat Athens in Athens last year.
Yeah,
they beat them one time and they went down there and split. Yeah. So I think it's definitely taking steps in the right direction. I have my own thoughts about the expansion that I will keep to myself.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the level of play has elevated tremendously since my first year.
Taylor and I are not going to waste our breath during the finals, because to me it was a little bit disrespectful by anybody to announce any expansion during a final series. You don't do that in the Stanley Cup. You don't do that during the Calder Cup. You just don't do that in general. So I agree with you on that. And of course, now I've already said more than I wanted to say about that and everything. Brooksy, okay, your final thoughts. This has been a great 3-year run for the Black Bears. Whatever happens, and nobody can take anything away from these guys. This has been such an impressive run, and I just don't see, with the addition of Q, with Brant, how they can really, truly lose this weekend.
It would definitely be hard knowing that the series has shifted back into your favor. I think after Friday night, a lot of people probably had a lot of questions about, what could happen with the team because they were outplayed on Friday night. And, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah.
But they responded well, and that's something that they've always done over these last 3 years with Coach Sherwood, is following a loss. Most of the time, they've bounced back with authority. Obviously with Q running the power play and really helping out with the offensive players, it's given a breath of fresh air, I think, to some of the guys who, I don't want to say got complacent, but now they've been elevated to a new level, being challenged.
Right.
Coach Sherwood talked about early in the year that really didn't know how to, coach CJ Stubbs. He's a guy who played with him in Roanoke, and Stubbs' offense production was a lot more than Sherwood's, during their time together.
Style of play was completely different, and yet he said to me, he said it to you as well, Coach Q comes in, he knows what to say to CJ Stubbs. He knows how to help CJ Stubbs. He knows how to help him get better, just for the simple fact that 2 different players are now 2 coaches, and one can coach somebody like that a little bit better.
I think that's a big help. Obviously, Bondarenko knows that Coach Graham, who came from Pensacola, is a good coach, and they're probably working up a new game plan on how to, I would say, one, try to stay out of the penalty box. But I don't know how much of that is actually coaching, if that's just more like player discipline.
Yeah.
But what do they do when they don't have as much space on the ice?
Sure.
Settled situations, not with the run and gun, how they want to set up 5-on-5. I'm sure Coach Graham's going to have his guys ready because they know that they have to win 2 games here. Mm-hmm. Last time they were here, they only won 1. People love to talk about the shutout,
mm-hmm.
but also the night before.
But Parker Rutherford's not going to be playing, and he played a great game in that game. He was a big part of the reason why they had that shutout as well.
That's correct. And then, the night before, Binghamton scored 6.
Yeah.
So it's obviously a possibility. Brandon Colgan wasn't even on part of that team at the time.
He wasn't.
That was part of me and Cole's prep, was going back and looking at the January matchup and finding out how many people were playing in those games versus who was playing in games 1 and 2 down in Florence.
I think we all prepped the same way for that because we did the same thing here on the Power Play Post Show, trying to figure out who was on and who wasn't.
Yeah, and I think circling back to the original question,
sure.
No matter what happens, I think it's something to be very proud of that you're back in the finals 3 years in a row. Only the Thunderbirds, I believe, are the only team to do that.
Yeah.
In league history, and it's a good way to conclude season 16. I do think Binghamton can get it done. I think they can get it done in 4 games. I do think that they got the wake-up call that they needed. But I don't know if we have any more whiteboards to break to really get the guys going for Friday night. So hopefully that you feel that sense of urgency from the start, because you just lived it last week. And I think that's in the back of everybody's head, is like, hey, we're here now. We might as well go and win the thing.
Yeah.
So I would look for the Black Bears to come out hot on Friday night. Mm-hmm. And if they can secure the win on Friday, I think you're going to see some desperation from Pee Dee on Saturday.
But a defensive probably shutdown by the Black Bears on Saturday as well.
I think so. I'm thinking you're probably looking at 30 minutes of ice time between DeRozio, Stone, and probably Kirkby as well.
Yeah.
Like those are guys who they're going to be feeling it the next couple of days. But you know what? If you get it done, they're not going to feel a thing.
And you know what's funny about that? And we'll leave with this. The last 2 years the Black Bears have won the championship, Dan Weber has been on the ice for both of that. So, and I talked to Brant Sherwood about that, and he said, nope, it's just the way it worked out. That was the shift. It was his shift to be out there. And I'm thinking to myself, no, I think it's because that third line, because he's been on the third line all 3 years, right? I think that line was probably the freshest and most ready. And you can rely on a guy like Dan Weber at the end of the game to make sure that he knows what to do. He's a Minnesota hockey-born player. They know hockey. He knows what to do as a defenseman to shut somebody down. He's one of the better in the league to be a shutdown defenseman. It'll be interesting to see if somehow, some way, because you're playing Stone and DeRozio so many minutes, if Dan Weber ends up on the ice at the end as well.
Wouldn't be surprised, and I think the guys do a good job of whenever your number is called, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Wanted to give a quick shout-out really quick to Jacob Shankar. I know he's been on the show recently here. I don't know what his exact ice time was on Saturday's game for Game 2. It wasn't a lot, but I do not remember him taking a third period shift until the final 2 minutes of the game when he was out there, I believe with Kyle Steffen, Nick Swain, and then Tyson made his way on as well. They were rolling an offensive line change with the puck in the PD end for a minute, just pushing the puck back and forth, keeping it away from PD, and they were doing a great job even when PD got the puck. They didn't bail and just retreat.
No.
They were fighting to take the puck back away. I thought he did an excellent job. Was someone who, in this time of the year, probably not seeing as much minutes as he saw in the regular season.
Right.
But hunting the puck, throwing his body around, and then when it mattered really the most, kept PD at bay. And we've seen how good they are with the extra attacker in the playoffs particularly, and they weren't able to get the goalie out until 30 seconds left. And I think that's a big factor to, Shankar and their 10th forward, in the third line guys as well.
Yeah, I think they started pulling him with 30 seconds left, and then he didn't get off the ice until almost 15 seconds left. It was just insane that it took that long for them to get him off. Brooksy, well, have a good broadcast this weekend. Hopefully you've got a couple good, phrases in your head, if things go well for the Binghamton Black Bears, and hopefully we'll be, hanging out and having a celebration in a few days.
That's obviously the hopeful case. It's funny enough, we've also had to prepare for the other situation as well.
Don't want to talk about that.
Okay, that's fair. Wanted to, before we wrapped up, wanted to say one last thing. Wanted to give a big shout out to the office after this weekend. With Friday and what will be a Saturday sellout as well.
Busy.
I believe the total got up to 15 sellouts this year.
Amazing.
Which I said at the very beginning of the year. And I want you, maybe you can go back and find the clip from our first interview this season. I think it was early October. We talked about the championship pedigree on the ice, and here we are back again.
Mm-hmm.
I also mentioned that you're going to see why the front office is championship pedigree as well this year, and continuing to elevate the attendance with the promotions this year as well, and only increasing the sellout and total attendance.
It's never happened in Binghamton hockey history. Even after we won the 2011 Calder Cup, the attendance went down the next year. In 2012, it went down like 300 fans per game. When they went into the Calder Cup finals in 82-83 or 81-82, the attendance went down. The only other time it didn't go down was the fourth year of the Dusters when they went to the championship. It did go down a little bit because they didn't have as many sellouts, but it didn't go down as much. Otherwise, the Black Bears have gone up every single year, regardless of championship or not.
Yeah, so big shout out to Kelsey, Bobby, Trevor, Alex, EJ, even Cole, our three full-time interns.
Poor Cole.
Shyler, Brandon, and Jack, who've been doing semester-long placement with us as well.
Nice.
That's been a really big help to where we can have them help out single-game ticket holder or single-game buyers.
Yeah.
Where like Bobby, Kelsey, and Alex can focus on the big groups. Obviously, that's a big factor in getting these sellouts and getting those ticket numbers up. But it all comes down to the fans wanting to come to the games.
Right.
And, showing their support. We just now are able to have more people help them get through the doors.
Which is great, which is awesome. Well, he is Brooks Hill from the Binghamton Black Bears, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Don Olivieri, and then, of course, Brooks Hill, as Brooks and I talked a lot about the PD series and obviously the upcoming sellouts that are going to happen on Friday, which has already been announced, and, of course, then on Saturday. And I wonder how quickly the tickets will sell for Sunday. If for some reason we have to go to a deciding Game 5, which I know, like, let's finish it in 2 more games. That would be great, right, Taylor?
100%. I would love the Sunday off, and I would feel really bad for the front office if they have to sell tickets for Sunday.
Oh, my God.
Because I'm sure it's going to be a madhouse.
Yeah, and instead of a 5 o'clock game on Sunday, it is a 6 o'clock game, folks. And that might be because they want to make sure they can sell tickets to you guys. Or it might be because there's some youth hockey going on. I'm not really sure. Or maybe it's just to give everybody just a little bit more time to rest and recoup. And let's be honest, we haven't done a 3 games in 3 nights in Binghamton for a while. So that would be interesting if we had to do that. Hopefully we don't. I know the IceCat fans are saying, yeah, we hope you have to, because that means that we're still in it by then. Not that they couldn't obviously take 2 games, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right. Support the Power Play Post Show by subscribing on YouTube. When you subscribe and like episodes, it signals to YouTube that hockey fans are engaging, which helps recommend the show to more viewers. Go over there and check out the press conference. I got the whole press conference up there. Dan Stone is funny. Tyson is serious and gets angry. And you know, kind of like, yeah, it was a high stick, and I was bleeding and I was on the ice. So there you go. And Brant is so good, and Brooks gives you all the information right in the beginning. It's a good thing. Go over to the YouTube page, subscribe and like. As our community grows, we're able to deliver more interviews and insights and hockey discussions, which we have a plan going into next season. Subscribing and liking is the most effective and completely free way to support the show. Join fellow hockey fans and subscribe on YouTube today. All right, Taylor, let's end the show talking a little bit more about what's going to happen. Now, the Black Bears and the IceCats now move to Binghamton for games 3 on Friday night and game 4 on Saturday night, with a possible game 5 on Sunday at 6 p.m. if the two teams split. Obviously, those first 2 games. Those 2 games are going to be sold out, games 3 and games 4. Now, game 4, there is still some tickets available, so get them quickly because you're not going to get them. Sorry about that. There's also, I've been talking a lot today, so I do apologize. There is something that Brooks brought up, and I want to talk about it again. If you go to Ticketmaster and you see a seat is in red and not in blue, blue means it's still being sold by the team. The team has not sold that ticket yet. If it's red, if it's a red dot, that means that somebody has put that seat up as a resellable seat, and they can name whatever price they want. So please, for the love of God, do not call the team and complain about that. There's nothing they can do about it. If it's in blue, it's being sold by the team, and you're going to get whatever price they have on there, right? From 19.
Have people really been doing that?
Yes, they've been calling the team office and being upset that there are tickets on there for $130. That's not the team doing that, folks. They're not going to see any bit of that money. If you buy that ticket that's in red and it's for $130, that money is going to the fan who bought it initially and then decided to sell it for $133 or $130 or $110 or whatever they're selling it for. Please do not call the office and be angry with them. It's not their fault. They're not the ones doing it, and they don't control that. There is an aftermarket within tickets. I've gotten hockey tickets that way. We've actually sold, my wife and I have actually sold concert tickets that way, and we did make some good money on the ones that we sold. So we are part of that problem. But my point is, don't get mad at the team. It's not their fault.
Yeah, I can't believe people were actually doing that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's not known news, so I guess I can kind of understand that. But yeah, resale tickets have nothing to do with the team, the office, nothing like that. Somebody bought that ticket, and they're either A, can't make it and want to get their money back, or B, bought the ticket just to spike it up and hopefully get a lot of money, I guess.
Yeah.
It's no different than if somebody, as soon as Taylor Swift tickets go on sale and everybody buys all of them and then, double, triple, quadruple the price and then sell them back to somebody just to make a profit. It happens all the time. Agreed. That's why a lot of these like venues, like for big names like AC/DC, they send them out in groups. So like they'll send out a couple hundred tickets and then a couple more hundred tickets and a couple more. So more people have options to get them. It's no different than doing all of that. But, this is a much smaller scale. And I've seen there's one on here right now for a resale for $50, which isn't horrible.
No, that's not
still
too bad.
More than you'd pay for just one seat. But, I've seen it as high as 200. And if you really want to go and that's the only ticket left, how much are you willing to spend to come see the Black Bears possibly win 3 in a row? Yeah.
So are you looking at Saturday's game or Friday's?
Saturdays.
Okay. How many tickets do you think approximately, as we're talking here on Wednesday night at 9:14, how many tickets do you think is approximately available?
I'd say probably less than 200.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's really the ends, the top of the corners is pretty much where there's any seats that are grouped together. Other than that, it's one or here scattered throughout.
Yeah, and that's how it usually is before games get sold out with Binghamton is those high-end corners are usually the last ones to go, and then there's always the periodic one or two floating around. All right, very cool. All right, Taylor, what did we see in game one that favored the IceCats?
They were definitely, they knew what they were doing. You know, they had the speed, they had everything was on their side and going for them. And I'm not at all referring to the refs in any way, shape, or form when I say that.
No.
I'm just saying, like, they, you know, puck to stick kind of thing. They got into the zones. They were able to get set up. They knew what they were doing. They were able to kind of get set up in areas where the Black Bears couldn't stop them, and they were able to get some good goals on Tomei. So yeah, they definitely, going into that, the home ice advantage for them was, I think, truly there. I do think home ice advantage plays a part of a role. I do think it does help the teams. You know, you've been playing on it all season long, where other teams, they don't necessarily have that. I mean, you know, you can face a team a bunch of times, but still, the home ice advantage is just a different feel. So yeah, they had everything going for them that should have been going for them, and the Black Bears just didn't.
Yeah, I think the speed, and I think the Black Bears just didn't play their game. You know, we heard from Brant Sherwood today talking about that, where, you know, they just didn't play the way that they normally do in that first game. But we've seen that on Friday nights before from the Black Bears over the last 3 years. Going into a Friday night game when they go on the road, they seem to struggle sometimes. This year, it wasn't as bad as previous years, but it still creeped up every once in a while. And of course, it creeped up in game one. I think the IceCats in game one just had a game plan that just worked, that the Black Bears, with them not playing on their A game, wasn't able to resolve. Now, that's exactly what I think happened in game two that favored the Black Bears. They played the best defense that we've seen from a team, especially in that first period, in that first 20 minutes when they shot 22 times on Brendan Colgan, and the Pee Dee IceCats only got 3. And the reason why that is they were in the offensive zone at least 75 to 80% of the period in that first period. That set the tone for the rest of the game. And I think that is the reason why the Black Bears, that's what favored the Black Bears, was their defensive play in the second game, where 2 defensemen then scored goals, and that's all it took at that point for them. So going into this weekend, Taylor, what do you think the Black Bears have to do consistently to win a third championship?
Consistently, I think they just have to play, you know, that defense that they played on Saturday. I think if they can go into it, and if they're able to get a couple good goals, you know, early on in the game, and then just kind of doing what they did Saturday and just shutting down Pee Dee, and just, you know, not shutting down the lanes and making it so they can't make those long passes, and, you know, have those cherry pickers, and, you know, not letting them enter the zone or get set up in the zone, or making them, you know, they did a lot of back and forth. And I think that's one thing that, you know, I think that's kind of where the, you know, you hope somebody tires out statement kind of comes from, is that, you know, the Black Bears, maybe they aren't the fastest on the ice, but if you're able to take Pee Dee, who does those really long passes, and you get them all the way into the zone, but then you immediately get them out of the zone, and now they either have to backtrack or you're going into their zone. It's a lot of back and forth. And for 60 minutes, that takes a huge toll on the body. And I think that's kind of where having the veterans that we do, and the players that we do on the ice, kind of, and even the players that have been here before, that kind of, it shows through a little bit more. So I think just consistency throughout the team itself, and, you know, being able to shut Pee Dee down. And honestly, I really I truly hope that it rains for them, and they get out of that scoring drought that they've been in a little bit. I would like to see more than 2 goals scored, because I have a feeling we're not going to shut Pee Dee out. I would love to, but I have a feeling we're not going to, and I would really like more than 1 goal cushion, because, man, it's very exciting hockey. I'll give them that, but I don't think the intensity in the arena can handle everybody being on the edge of their seat for the entire 60 minutes, or especially for those last 2 minutes. I'm sure it'll get really interesting if it's a 1-goal game. But so I would like to see more scoring, and I know they can score on Colgan. They've done it many times this season.
Yeah.
And so I think they've got to figure out getting past Pee Dee on that aspect.
Yeah, I think one of the big keys to the game, other than the defense that we've already talked about, and we've talked about throughout this show, whether it be with the interviews or even with the press conference that I was at earlier today, that's up on our YouTube page, so definitely check that out, is honestly, I want to see the top line really start to take charge for this team. And I'm talking about the CJ Stubbs, the Ivan Bondarenko, the Mac Jansen. Now, we don't know if the three of them will be matched up together this upcoming weekend. They were for game one, and then in game two, that was split up a little bit, right? So it'll be interesting to see what the lines look like going into game three and how Brant Sherwood puts everybody together. But I really do want to see that top line take control of the game and do what they've done all season long, especially if they're together, especially if it's CJ, Mac Jansen, and Ivan Bondarenko. I want to see those three because it's important. I know that we can get depth scoring all throughout the lineup, but I think one of the keys for us winning this championship is either in game three or game four, or maybe even game five, that line takes over the game and kind of really asserts themselves, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely, I mean, that I would enjoy that very much. I would like to see, because Mac Jansen's the reason we got through Port Huron, and I'm pretty honest about that one.
Yeah.
Without Mac Jansen scoring those goals, we probably wouldn't have won against Port Huron because, again, very close, tight games.
Yeah.
1-goal games. It's very, something that we haven't really faced much in, when it comes to the playoffs.
Right.
But at the same time, like the scoring's been like all over the place. I mean, it's been, Stubbs, Jansen, the defense, like it's definitely been an interesting playoff run for us. So I would like to see scoring, and quite honestly, I don't even care which line it comes from. And the reason that I say that is because it seems like each playoff game, a certain line has kind of been the forerunner where, like Port Huron series, the first line with Jansen was definitely a top line, but then the second line in a couple games has been, kind of, you keep your eye on them because they've been doing some good stuff. The third line. So it's been interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what the lineup looks like. And I think maybe that'll tell us where the scoring is going to come from.
Well, folks, I hope that the next time that we talk to you, we're talking about a three-peat. Now, speaking of three-peats, there have been a few, and I am the person that is allowed to talk about this because I do not play on the ice, so we can talk about this a little bit. In the American Hockey League, it's only happened once. Crazy enough, they have an 89-year history. Black Bear, by the way, the Binghamton Senators won in the 75th season of the AHL. They won their championship in 2011. This is the 89th season of the American Hockey League, and it's only happened once. The Springfield Indians, our good friend Stephen McAnanima, if you're still listening, I don't know, maybe you snoozed at some point during the show, but we are talking about your Springfield Indians, one of the first hockey teams that he probably knows other than the Boston Bruins, the Springfield Indians. They won in 1960, 1961, and 1962. And then, of course, you had the Fort Wayne Comets of the International Hockey League that merged in with the American Hockey League. Back in the early 2000s, they won those final 3 Turner Cup championships, which was what it was called then. And in the ECHL, the Florida Everblades just recently did that here in the last couple years. And that's it. Those are the only 3 teams in minor league hockey that has won 3 in a row. Now, in the NHL, it's happened by 3 different organizations, and I believe one organization has done it twice. And, of course, the most recent one that I remember is the New York Islanders winning 4 in a row back in the 80s. Can the Binghamton Black Bears do it this year? Can they make it 3 in a row? Will they do it? Will they cement themselves as a pure dynasty here in the FPHL? We'll find out. and then we'll talk about it. So hopefully the next time we talk to you guys, whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm not really sure when. We don't really know when. We might need a break after celebrating or not celebrating, maybe commiserating. Maybe we'll be sad and crying, whatever it might be. And don't judge a guy up in the press box if you see him weeping a little bit. No matter how this series turns out. But
or stressed out and pacing back and forth.
I will try to keep myself strapped to the chair and not do that so people don't look up at me. And folks, please look at the players that's on the ice. Don't be looking up at me. Just
listen. People look up to see Brooks waving the rally chair, so it's gonna happen. So
that's fine. Either way, it'll be very interesting, and we are already going way longer than I was kind of hoping for this show, but that's okay. So it'll be fun. If you see us this weekend, say hello. We appreciate that as well. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob LaPolish, our MC, John Petitucci, our music director, and our friends, Don Olivieri and Brooks Hill, for coming on the show. We really do appreciate it. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you guys next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.